going forward. His biggest surprises week 1 of the NFL season. Joel Pinfield of One Royal Way Pod and KCSN joins us at noon. We'll talk a lot of Royals at noon. I think there's so much football right now. I think this first hour and a half to 2 hours is going to be predominantly football. We will talk Royals. They took 2 or 3 of the Angels. Not the Angels, the Twins. They still sit 2 games back now of the final wild card spot. I do want to talk about Q, specifically his lineup construction yesterday. That was mind-blowing, to put it mildly. I was beyond frustrated when I saw that come out, so we'll talk with Joel about that in more detail at noon. Mick Schaefer joins at 1. We'll talk a lot of college football at 1 with Mick. I do want to talk some college football, though, as well in this first hour. Local schools, K-State obviously fell to Army. Not ideal there. I think 6 possessions total is what K-State had. Just brutal. And then Missouri, Kansas, which I know Mizzou won by 11, but that was a much closer game than the final score indicated. I know Jack's a KU guy. Myself, a Mizzou alum, will have some fun in regards to that. You look at the AFC West landscape right now. First time in how long? Chiefs sit at the bottom?
Long time.
I think I saw something like 2000. I don't know. I think I was wrong. I think I saw like 2002, and I think that may have been hyperbolic. But still, this is a sore sight.
It is.
And I still am not over. So you had a chance to get off your chest a little bit on.
I did.
A
few days ago. I was wondering what we were going to open with.
Well, I want to start here because this is still on my dome. Not one play loses that game. Not one player loses that game. But the Hall of Famer that doesn't go for contain and just runs inside, I have a hard time getting over that. I love Chris Jones. This is not a boo the man. This is, though, a situation where you went up against a banged up Chargers offensive line, hardly any pressure all game, and then the final play, Mahomes is doing Mahomesian things. He is in the zone, like you are right now listening to us. It's 3rd and forever. You have a chance to get the ball back to a guy who's playing right now what he looked like in 2023 or 2022. All you have to do is not let him run outside for a first down. And Chris Jones goes in trying to get a sack. The one thing you could not do in that situation was that. So I'm still a little salty. Chiefs are going to be okay. I'm not worried long term. I just still feel the way Drew Tranquill seemingly felt in that moment. When you see Drew Tranquill yelling at Chris Jones, I think that tells you the full story. That tells and paints the picture for you. That, to me, is the one play that still stands out. Yes, the first half offense was atrocious. Yes, Xavier Worthy, not ideal. Yes, there were a lot of situations, including the secondary, which looked like 2 scoops of ass the majority of the game. The lack of a pass rush. There were some positives I want to get to as well. But that one specific play, it still gets me on this Monday.
Hey, Tranquill had a right to yell, too. He's the best defensive player on the field for them that night. He had 2 sacks. If this was somebody else that was getting picked on all night and he's yelling at Chris Jones, I'd say maybe back off a little bit. But, yeah, Chris Jones took full accountability for that. I get it if it's third and 6 maybe, and you need to get pressure on the quarterback because Justin Herbert was able to sit back, all day to throw, all night, never had any sort of stain on his jersey. And I didn't even talk about this on Friday. If the Chargers picked up 10 there and it's 4th and 4, I believe they go for it. I really do. With the way they were getting everything inside of 5 yards on critical third downs on the night. I mean, how many times was Keenan Allen, Ladd McConkey just open right over the middle in the soft zone?
Man.
So I wonder, too. I know he picked up 20 to 25 on that 3rd and 14 run. But I almost think with the way Jim Harbaugh would be coaching in that spot, it would be what we've seen so many years in big primetime games like that against the Chiefs. You don't want to give Patrick Mahomes the ball back. And for Chris Jones in that spot, if he stays outside, I asked Matt Derrick this. If he stays outside, did they have everybody covered up? Was Justin Herbert going to take the underneath route and just pick up 5 to 6 yards and then punt it away, or maybe put themselves in a favorable 4th down and 3 or 4? He said, yeah, if he stays outside. It seemed the Chiefs had pretty much everything covered in front of them. Now, he could have thrown something deep, pass interference, game over. But, yeah, didn't it not feel like that Chad Henne play against the Browns in the COVID year where he just scrambles and you go, oh, somebody's there. Nobody's there.
No one.
Nobody is on that side of the field. And he stays in bounds, had the celebratory slide. I'll give him that. That was a pretty clean, crisp slide to win the game. I was kind of dancing on the grave a little bit. But, I don't see Chris Jones making a mistake like that again this season.
No, again, it's game one. It was in Brazil. All of this. I think the offensive game plan got thrown out the window when Worthy went down. Obviously, very, very early in that game. The first half was a adjustment period. Because the second half, I thought that was the best the Chiefs offense had looked in a while. Well, I would say the Bills playoff game, right? But I think the second half Chiefs offense looked really darn good. They still can't run the football. It's still perplexing to me how you keep saying now it's Kingsley, great run blocker, Creed Humphrey, great run blocker, Trey Smith, great run blocker, and yet nothing. That still sucks. But he was passing the ball. Thank goodness for Juju Smith-Schuster. Hollywood Brown, after I thought, really bad start. Not just the drop, just a couple decisions, him not trying to pick up that first down, not going forward. I thought Hollywood actually got into a good groove that second half, right?
He was targeted 16 times in the game, too.
Yeah, I thought Travis Kelce looked better. Obviously, that play call was one of the better play calls we have seen. I mean, that was just a beautiful play call from either Nagy or, let's be real, probably Andy Reid.
That was an Andy call.
That was a beautiful touchdown. So I think there are some positives to take away. So I'm not trying to just focus on the negatives. I do think there's some optimism for the Chiefs offense, even with the plethora of injuries to the wide receiver core or suspension, a.k.a. Rashee Rice. I do wonder if they take a look at Tyreek Hill. Contract, you'd have to do a lot to try and figure that bad boy out. But you saw the Miami game. Remember when people tried telling everyone that Tua Tagovailoa was a really good quarterback?
Well, Tyreek said it himself.
Yeah,
said he's the most accurate quarterback I've ever played for.
It needed to be said. It didn't, Tyreek. But I get it. He's playing for that team now. He's going to say that. But when you saw dudes in the media, the nerds on PFF, which I want to get to in a moment, try and tell us that, look at Tua. Look at these underlying numbers.
Yeah.
I love underlying numbers in baseball, right? Football, things a little different. So when they tried telling us that Tua was this great quarterback, and we all kept pushing back, and all these people kept saying, no, I promise you, dog, he's not good. Tyreek, don't waste the last run of Tyreek's career down toiling away in the sun with a dude that wears capris as your head coach and a quarterback that can't throw the rock.
I do wonder if we get to the point at some point in week 6, week 7, if Miami's 2-5, if they're, maybe a 1-win team at that point. If McDaniel keeps his job, that's question number 1 here. He was already on the hot seat going into the year, and then you lose by 25 to Daniel Jones and the Colts, who haven't won a week 1 game since 2013, I believe the stat was. That's awful for Miami. And it's in a year where they know they're not winning their division. It's going to be impossible to beat Buffalo. They also just don't have the defense to do so. With what we saw with Buffalo and Baltimore last night, if you're Tyreek Hill, you are making a lot of money. You are living in Miami. But how do you want the last half of your career to go? Now, didn't he say a couple years ago, like, he wanted to retire early, he didn't want to play until his late 30s? So maybe that is what it's going to be, where, hey, I'm just going to play through this contract. I'm making a lot of money. I like it here in Miami. I really don't have the intention of destroying my body the rest of the way to chase another Super Bowl championship. And
he said in the offseason he wanted to be, or after the game.
You just never can tell, yeah.
He goes with the
I
win.
do believe he gets traded. Now, does Kansas City have the pieces to get it done? Maybe they do. I'm sure he would love to come back and finish his career on a high note. But if you are Kansas City, you do have to think about it. You really do. Because how often, Sterling, have we talked about, well, just wait till the trio's all healthy. Worthy, Hollywood, and Rice.
Yeah.
It never happens. It literally never happens. I'm not trying to bring NBA into this, but do you remember when it was Brooklyn, right? When you had Kyrie, Harden, and Durant. They never were on the court at the same time.
Yeah.
And everybody said, well, just wait till they're on the court at the same time. I'm not saying that these players are the same thing as those guys in the NBA, but we do this too often well, once you get Worthy and Rice and Hollywood all on the field, it's going to be the best receiving core that Patrick Mahomes has had. It's so balanced. It's so well-rounded. There's a chance that you just don't get all of them on the field at the same time. We're hoping by week 6 when Rice, or week 7 it would be against the Raiders, that can be it. But we got to see what happens with Worthy. We got to make sure Hollywood stays healthy the rest of the way. And, yeah, it's great. But right now, this receiver room, it continues to have these injuries pop up over and over again. And for Patrick Mahomes to have that type of connection back, it's at least worth a thought.
Yeah.
Even if the price is high, the price is high. But I feel, as I'm sure you do as well, it's worth a call just to see where Miami's at.
It's
with
worth a call, man.
It is.
That's what we're saying.
Worst they can say is no.
It's worth a call. Just eat the contract, Miami. Come on.
Throw in some picks.
Bring him back to KC. You know what?
I want all my picks back.
Well, I mean, end of the day, it worked out for KC with the trade and what they got with McDuffie, and we know. But bring him home. Bring him home. I want to talk about the offensive line in just a moment, but I do think we need to talk about Patrick. That first half was brutal, but was that one of the most impressive second halves that we've seen from Patrick in a year? At least a year? I mean, that to me, I know the Bills' playoff game last year is like the outlier of the season last year to me, of Patrick. I thought he was, over my dead body, the punking the Chargers secondary player on the sideline, which, by the way, the dumbasses on Twitter, they just want to complain. Doesn't matter what Patrick does. If he goes out, he touches him. Surprised he didn't throw a flag. Then he bulldozes a dude.
He got lit up twice before that, too, near the sideline.
Yes, not Pete Dye, the golf designer. Troy Dye lit him up, and we all said, good hit. Mm-hmm. Patrick gave him a little tap saying, nice job. Way to not fall for that. We all applauded Dye for that. And somehow, again, the dumbasses on the X decided to be like, oh, look at Patrick taking advantage of the rules. You got that guy that played for a cup of coffee for the Packers, Kurt.
Oh, yeah.
Dudes, I can't stand that guy. He's a generational hater. Him and Jason McIntyre are generational haters. They must have a group chat just saying, how can we piss off Chiefs fans? And look at me. I'm red in the face. I look like the Chiefs jerseys. But I hate the dumb arguments that are just so invalid that don't mean anything. They just can't see straight because they hate KC. They have to find a way to hate on Patrick. That was glorious. I love giving credit to other quarterbacks and other teams. It's fun. Like last night, I'm going to give so much credit to, as we'll get to a little later on, Josh Allen and Lamar and the Ravens and Derrick Henry. Why would we not give credit to those guys? But that Patrick lowering the shoulder, if you have an issue with that, you don't know ball. He's trying to fire his guys up, and he did. I love the fire from Travis Kelce in that second half, getting into it with Jawan Taylor, which, by the way, still a massive issue, maybe more than before. Go to Jalen Moore. What are we doing here, Andy? Make him walk back up not the Cumberland gap, but what was the gap? The Darien gap? The one that Mick Schaefer and I were talking about that we learned. That's why you can't walk or drive from KC to Sao Paulo. Make him go through that. Mm-hmm. Make him walk back. I know he's back now, but still. To me, it wasted one of the premier Patrick performances. The one of him parallel to the ground, making a completion, him running with his legs, him diving, him trucking guys. Mm-hmm. That, to me, was a waste of one of the best halves I have seen of a quarterback play football.
Well, he was let down by so many other guys on this roster. I mean, you come back and tie the game, right? You were down 13-3. You get the field goal right before halftime. You then get the stop. He goes down. He scores. Harrison Butker misses the PAT. That changed, whether we want to say it or not, that changed how the Chiefs operated the rest of the way. And it allowed the Chargers to eventually go up by 9, which made the Chiefs have to go through this plan of, well, we're down 2 scores, so you got to operate a little bit differently. You had to go for 2, and the ball gets swatted down where Noah Gray was wide open. There were a couple of drops that he dealt with. His offensive line play, that 4th and 6 or 7 where he found Hollywood Brown down the field. Did anybody see Khalil Mack humiliate Kingsley Suamataia on that play?
Yeah, I want to get to Kingsley in just a moment after this, but yes.
I mean, it's just on that type of play, I get it. You're dealing with somebody who at one point was one of the best pass rushers in the league. Still, I believe, can be in that conversation of top 10, top 15. But Kingsley got destroyed on that. Running back room. I know we'll talk about this at some point, and it's week 1. We're not going to say, well, they just have no running back room and they're never going to have one. There's a chance that Isaiah Pacheco can get going and get back to 2023 form. But was there any run threat? No, because he was the leading rusher and had the most rushes of anybody. He led them with 56, 57 yards and had 6 carries, I believe. 6 or 7 carries.
Pacheco had 5, Kareem had 5, Mahomes had 6 for 57.
I mean, and I get it. You had to abandon the run a little bit when it wasn't working, and you also were trailing the majority of this game, so you have to throw it more. You didn't have Worthy. I'm sure that altered the game plan, but you're exactly right. He had an over-my-dead-body type of performance in the second half. He's running around. He's scrambling. He's making these sidearm throws again. He's throwing the ball down the field. Guys are dropping passes. Jawan Taylor couldn't line up correctly. He's false starting all the time. You're getting these holding calls. I mean, he legitimately did everything in his power to try to give them an opportunity and then also flip it on the other side of the ball here. The defense could not get a stop. They could not get off the field every time the Chiefs scored. Soft zone there, everybody. I want to say there was a stat out there that when targeting the middle of the field, Herbert was 13 of 14 or 14 of 15, 100-plus yards. I mean, it was so easy. It was effortless for that offense, especially on 3rd down where McConkney's open, Keenan Allen's open, Quentin Johnson had one of the best games of his career. Everybody around him was not there to help him out. And we've seen so many times, Sterling, in the Patrick Mahomes era, those other guys come through for him. I thought on Friday night, Mahomes did everything he could. Nobody else was really giving him that helping hand.
No, and you saw before half the Butker field goal, and I thought that was going to be the energy. And I think it did, bleed into the second half. That did feel like a turnaround, especially for the offense, right? I mean, give credit to Butker. I know the extra point was brutal, and I don't know how to even view Butker's performance when you miss an extra point like that, but you drill a 59-yarder, and Noah Gray, by the way, what a great job by Gray with the wherewithal for the fire drill to get the ball, get it from the ref, run back, get it down. Butker not using the normal kicker ball, using the ball that they're actually playing with. That's insane. I don't know if people know. Kickers have their own balls they use now, right? They're broken in. They're softer. You can kick those a lot more accurate, a lot of times farther, and you know the feel. You're now kicking just a regular game ball. I give Butker so much credit, the offensive line getting out there, special teams, Dave Tobe. But that extra point, as you mentioned, was...
It sucked, but that doesn't take away how flawless the fire drill was. That's one of the best fire drills I've ever seen.
Ever. The only other one I can think of was it TCU?
TCU, and even then, that was still a 45-yarder, too, in Waco. Like, it was on the road. I'm not trying to take anything away, but to do that from 60, you have no time to set up, basically, and he boots it, and he probably had still a couple extra yards on it. He would have been good from 65, in my opinion.
Yeah, I thought so, too. So that was very, very impressive. Offensive line. This is where I had some issues with PFF. I also thought that, for the most part, there are some reasons for optimism on the offensive line. I'm not saying it's going to be great. But that left side, for the most part, we know Jawan Taylor's a penalty factory. We can talk about that in its own, but I'm going to bring some positivity here. You brought up the Khalil Mack one-on-one, Kingsley, that 4th down, which, again, Patrick made him a Holmesian throw. I thought Kingsley was pretty good the majority of the game. Like, I was watching, I was looking. I thought Kingsley outside, again, that was a brutal play. But that's going to happen here and there, right? I'm not trying to dismiss that play. I'm not trying to undervalue that play. But I thought Kingsley Suamataia, for the most part in this game, was a serviceable left guard. I thought Josh Simmons, he must have been learning from Juwan Taylor as far as the penalties. I thought Josh Simmons looks like a legitimate NFL left tackle. I think he looks just as good as Donovan Smith did here in KC. Easy. I saw glimpses of what it looked like with Orlando Brown Jr. here in KC. I'm not going to say Eric Fisher just yet because I think that's a little disrespectful. And he's a different player than obviously Orlando Brown Jr. is. But I thought Josh Simmons looks like a legitimate left tackle in the NFL. I'm slightly enthused by what the left side did in this game.
They had their moments. Again, I want to say it was Andy Reid who brought it up in the postgame pressers of, I thought it was fine. I mean, it wasn't like week 2 against Cincinnati last year where it was such a glaring issue where they had to bench Kingsley. And then the year before that, it was Jacksonville in week 2. Juwan Taylor had to get benched in the second half because he wasn't lining up correctly and there were all these false starts. They're going to have to make a tough decision eventually, if this continues, by the way, because we all know when Juwan Taylor is not a penalty guy, a penalty right tackle, just he basically is a target for these officials. When that's not happening, he can handle the right side.
He's fine.
He's fine. He's serviceable.
Honestly, he's honestly an above average above average, not great.
Which is what he was in Jacksonville.
Above average
That's
right
why
tackle
they gave him the contract.
without the penalties.
And then when that week, his debut game against Detroit 2 years ago, when that became a focal point, games like this are now possible, where they're going to just constantly throw the flag on him for illegal formation, the false start, where it's just a half second before the ball is snapped. That is something where you're going to have to wonder if Jalen Moore is not going to do that, which I'm not trying to be the guy overreacting and saying you got to bench him. You're paying him the money. I don't care. You are paying Jalen Moore money as well.
By the way, I am doing that. I was.
But there were people
bench him after the penalty.
There were people covering the team that watch this team every single day, know the ins and outs. Talk to the coaches that are saying it wouldn't shock me if Jalen Moore is out there. And when you hear that, I have to wonder if it really is a possibility, because you can't go throughout this season if your right tackle is getting flagged 4 to 5 times in a game.
Especially with the injury to the wide receiver room where 10 yards, 15 yards,
it's critical.
If you're getting a 5-yard, 10-yard penalty, that 1st and 10 is already getting tough to pick up because you don't have a run game and your receivers are injured. And you don't have a lot of yak guys now.
No.
And so you're being forced for Mahomes to do Mahomesian things every single drive. That's unfair. That's unrealistic, even for a guy as great as he is. You can't have that. That's the one thing you cannot do. I'm with you. I was team Jalen Moore after that final penalty or the second penalty in the second half. I don't know how Andy doesn't just go to Jalen here, at least to send a message.
I have to wonder too. He's talking about how that's just his thing. He did it in Jacksonville where he's going off of the cadence. He's not going off of the snap of the ball. So maybe once you get into the zone, you kind of forget about it. But when you're a focus, when you know by the first quarter if the officials are going to be calling that, and you got to be extra careful. You have to switch things up. You have to go by the snap of the ball. Otherwise, every drive that starts, it's going to be 1st and 15 instead of 1st and 10.
Yeah. We'll take a break. A little border war talk on the other side. We'll keep talking Chiefs and some NFL as well. The Zone rolls on. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Oh, it's beautiful weather. Beautiful weather outside. Going to be pretty this weekend as well, but it does not mean that the storms aren't going to be right around the corner. And are you ahead of the weather? Is your roof ahead of the weather? If not, then you need to call Pyramid Roofing or check them out, pyramidroofingkc.com, 816-966-1101, 816-966-1101 for Pyramid Roofing. Free roof inspections. Do you have broken tiles? Are there missing or damaged shingles? Do you not know of that?
Welcome back to the Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, Jack Johnson on this glorious Monday. I choose to be optimistic even with the Chiefs' loss. I choose to be optimistic, and part of that is probably because of the way the border war shook out.
I was going to say, it's easier for you.
I do think if you're a KU fan, and not all the KU fans that I actually watched the game with majority KU fans. Mm-hmm. It was tough. We had a margarita party, and it was planned on this day, and we do it every single year. There's like 40 of us that go. Couldn't say no. The game was on. It was at my friend's house. We had a couple TVs. We had a Mizzou section with 2 of us.
That's smart.
And then we had a KU section with like 30 people. Eventually, we all decided, hey, we can be cordial. We can be friends.
Let's see how the game goes, and then we can be a little bit more cordial.
And then after the first quarter went down, I went down and was like, all right, I'll sit down here. I'm happy for you guys. We'll see if this turns around. And then we got heated into it one more time when the shoulder pad situation happened, face mask, shoulder pad, and the batting of the ball. Those were 2 very contentious moments for the KU fans and the 2 of us Missouri fans. As a Mizzou guy who was decked out in the party pants, the black pants with the Missouri Tiger
what are those
logos,
called? The
stadium pants.
No, it starts with a Z. Because
Zumbas?
Zumbas, yeah.
No. These are
you didn't have those?
These are like chinos. These are
okay. Now I got an
These
image.
are almost like suit pants.
Okay, so you went all out.
I went all out.
You got the good. I've complimented you a few times walking in. You've got that nice throwback gear. You really lean into throwback, and I'm a fan of throwbacks.
Big time. If I'm going to dress up for something, I'm going all out. I'm not going to half-ass it. I'm going to full-ass it. And so I full-assed it. And after the game, a lot of the KU fans, all the KU fans, were almost excited about how Kansas played. I know it was a 42-31.
It looked worse if you did not watch the game and you went, it was 5.5. Missouri won by 11, and had 600 yards of offense or whatever it was.
And I want to get into the Leipold decision to punt in a moment with you because you are the KU guy, and so I want to get your thoughts from the KU perspective. I thought Kansas played great, and quite frankly, I think that they now have, after that game, I feel a better chance of winning the Big 12 than they gave them credit for to start the season, because if they can play that way against this Missouri team, who I think this Missouri team is damn talented, very, very talented. I didn't know what Bo Pribula was going to look like overall. He's exceeded expectations. That was the big concern for Mizzou. We knew they had the wide receivers. We knew they had some guys up front. We knew they had their front 7 on defense was going to be really, really good. KU's receivers were running open the entire game. Jalen Daniels has a couple throws I think he wants back. There's obviously that drop at the end of the game that he wants back. But overall, I was very impressed with Kansas.
Yeah, I would say that if you are a Kansas fan, it does sting a lot to blow a 15-point lead and lose to Missouri. You were in Como. I mean, what's great if you are a Kansas fan is that's the single toughest environment they will play in all year long.
Guaranteed.
It's not even close, really. And they've got a tough road game in Lubbock against Texas Tech. They have a tough road game in Ames against Iowa State, though they've beaten Iowa State the last 3 years. You're exactly right that if you are a Kansas fan and you were looking for that, is this team for real, or did they just beat up on Fresno State and Wagner, and then this is what it's going to be? I thought the way they were poised early on, the defense was poised early on, there's a lot to take away where you can feel great about. I hate moral victories, I really do, especially since KU has crawled out of the cellar of what they used to be. But Jalen Daniels looked really good. I know you look at the stat line, it was 18 to 30, he had the pick. There were probably 6 or 7 drops. The fumble, too.
That's the most frustrating one that I heard from all the Kansas. And I watch, obviously, because we talk about it.
Yeah.
Even as a Mizzou guy, I watch all the KU games. I never understand how he was almost giving himself up. Yeah. Why do you have the ball with one hand like a LaShawn McCoy loaf of bread in your hand?
He does at times, and he doesn't shy away from contact. It's what makes him, against certain opponents, really good. But when you're playing an SEC defense, and especially ones like Missouri, you can't be that careless with the ball. And I feel a lot of KU fans can speak to this as well. You go back the last couple of years against Kansas State. You go back to a lot of these big games against rivals, and there's always a moment that you go, well, that's the one that led him back in the game. And that's where, yes, if you get sacked and you lose 15 yards on that play, Missouri had already just scored, like, it stings a lot. But the worst thing you can do in that moment is to turn it over and give Missouri a short field. Now, it ended up being a safety. Missouri then goes back and ties the game right before half. I mean, the late game planning at the end of the first half and the fourth quarter, brutal, awful. And it's been that way, really, as great as a coach as Leipold has been. In games like this, it feels that when they get tight, it's more of, we're playing not to lose here. It's not a, hey, we got the ball back with 1:08 to go. Missouri has all the momentum, but we got 3 timeouts, and the offense is moving the ball. But they went and said, well, you just need to get to half here. You're not getting the ball out of the break. I cannot understand it, and I certainly cannot understand punting at that spot in the game. I know the analytics said it's kind of a toss-up, but no, not with the way that game was going. You got to go for it.
Yeah, I mean, again, you saw Kansas's wide receivers wide open. It looked like Missouri's defense, pass defense, was on their heels. I was perplexed by that, but also I was a little surprised by Missouri punting in the fourth quarter as well. They ended up
scoring.
going.
It was the 92-yard drive for Kansas right after that.
And it was a great punt. I mean, it was a great punt, but it was one of those situations where you need a yard or two. Your defense looks gassed. I thought that was a bad decision by Eli. It didn't matter because they ended up making the 4th and 7 or 4th and 10. The next ensuing 4th down that they went for, Kevin Coleman is absolutely insane. He looks Luther Burden wore number 3. Kevin Coleman, are we going to end up saying that he's going to have a better season than Luther Burden ever did and that's not a knock on Luther at all. That's not what I'm trying to do. But Kevin Coleman looks unreal right now. Norfleet, great job holding onto the ball. Obviously, the early in the game to kind of set the tone that first drive, the hurdle. Donovan O, freshman, making that catch, the one-handed grab. I mean, there were a lot of big receptions on tough plays. You got to give the Missouri receivers credit.
Absolutely.
But you're right. I want to go back to some of the decisions, and it wasn't all his fault. Was it Highshaw who ran out of bounds to stop the clock?
Highshaw made a 6-year player mistake, and Daniels made, and you can't have that. But Sterling, I would say, of watching every single game in the Leipold era, it's those plays just happen in games like this, and that's what has kept Kansas from catapulting itself into a legitimate Big 12 title contender. Because in these games where you go, I know last year they beat BYU and Provo, I get it, it's fine. But those mistakes where you go, okay, if we're playing for halftime, you slide. You're not going anywhere to begin with. And I get when you're a guy in your middle of competition, you're trying to get the extra yard, that can happen with a freshman.
Sure.
It can. It can't happen when you've been around this game and you're a starter. And that cost Kansas 3 points. Now the defense, the Missouri had no timeouts, and they were committed to, hey, we're going to halftime, we'll run the ball, we'll see if we'll get anything. And he busted open for 40 yards. And then you got the 40 extra yards on the pass completion. It's inexcusable. I'm sorry. It's absolutely inexcusable.
I was almost surprised Missouri didn't go for it there to try and really.
I was too.
But at the same point, I understand you get the ball coming out of the second half, just tie it up. You've had a couple of situations, obviously the fumble for a scoop and score for Kansas, tie it up, brand new ball game. I thought Eli, for the most part, did a great job. And again, Missouri, you look at the team stats, they were in control from that point on. The start of the fourth quarter, the first half of the fourth quarter, Kansas got the momentum back, but it was 595 total yards to 251. The time of possession was 40-19. 261 yards rushing to 28. I mean, it felt like Missouri had a lot going after that first quarter. Outside the first drive, Ahmad Hardy, I would love to see in a Chiefs uniform. That guy was getting hit.
Explosive.
By the way, he was getting hit behind the line of scrimmage.
That was a difference maker as well.
One of my favorite stats, which might be in the Learn Funniest Bets, but I'm going to say either way. Per PFF, Ahmad Hardy had 111 rushing yards. 103 came after contact.
Yeah.
He was getting hit behind the line of scrimmage time and time again and finding ways forward. 12 missed tackles forced, tied for the most of any in week 2.
Yeah, KU was a couple of times. It wasn't. See, I can live with, you hit somebody hard and they bounce off of it because at least you are going in with a lot of force. I Kansas a few times did hit him really hard. You credit to it. That's a explosive running back and probably one of the better backs in the SEC. But that's where I go back to these little margins. And also, you credit Missouri's wide receivers. How many fourth downs in critical spots that either Prabula threw it up. I mean, at the end of the first half, you get that fourth down. It's the one-handed snag. That's a play where, Kansas defended it well. It's a one-handed snag. You go, okay, that's just tough. After Kansas had taken the lead, it's 31-28. It's that fourth down play, and I think it was Coleman right over the middle. Lyric rolls, blows him up, and I would say, I'm going to go on record right now, they have Big 12 play the rest of the way. That play against every other opponent, that ball's dropped.
Yep.
That ball is 100% dropped. I don't know if it's the rivalry game. Maybe K-State will be able to do it because KU's lost a lot of games just like that to the Wildcats. But that play, I go, what are you going to do? You're right there. Yeah, you were a tad late, but you blow the guy up, and it's an incredible catch. And that's what led for them to go down the field. They have the great play call to Norfleet on fourth down. To me, along with KU's conservativeness on fourth down at times, Missouri was really aggressive on fourth down because they had to be, right? You got the kicker that's out. But that's where I think Kansas fans can be optimistic of, you were right there. You were inches at times away from saying, we walked out of our biggest win in the Leipold era, but that's where you're still limited because we've been in this spot multiple times of Manhattan, Lawrence against K-State, big-time games at home, and it was you're right there, but you just can't make that play or two, the overthrow, the drop pass. It's like just rinse and repeat. It's happened so many times in the Leipold era, and that's what's been so frustrating because, yes, they are much better. They are competitive. You can feel good about competing for a Big 12 title, especially since K-State lost to Army a few hours later after this game. But you got to feel good that you can compete. But until they actually do it, Sterling, where until they have a late drive, they score, and they finally get a stop and they can ice the game, Kansas fans have every right to be critical of, I'm not believing this is going to happen until it really does.
In fairness, Missouri fans, same way. Just look at the South Carolina game last year. We'll take a break. Maybe a little more college football on the other side. A whole bunch more coming your way, including NFL with Field Yates at 11:30. Joel Penfield talking Royals at noon. Mick Schaefer at 1. The Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Welcome back to the Zone. Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sterling Holmes, Jack Johnson, Michael Darcy. Field Yates of ESPN joins at 11:30. Joel Pinfield of One Royal Way Pod and KCSN joins at noon. Some Chiefs audio coming your way at 12:30. Mick Schaefer joins at 1. All right. I do want to talk Bills, Ravens with you. I want to get back into KC, some Chiefs and Royals talk. Let's wrap up this college football conversation. All three teams. Credit to Mick Schaefer. He called the first 3 games for K-State. He said they're going to start 1-2. They did start 1-2, but maybe not quite the way they've gone 1-2. He had them losing to Army. Where does K-State go from here?
I mean, if you are a K-State fan, you feel maybe optimistic that once Dylan Edwards is back, they'll look closer to what – I mean, you can make a case he has not played this year. He got hurt on the first punt of the season.
Sure.
And that's one of your more explosive, dynamic playmakers. But college is weird like this, Sterling, where you have guys that it's like, oh, they're not practicing, but we'll see come Saturday. And then it's out week 1, out week 2, out week 3, out week 4. Speaking of, as a Kansas fan, like that was the way it was with Jalen Daniels the year he got hurt in 2022. It was like, oh, we'll see where he's at. And then he wouldn't play. Oh, maybe next week. Oh, he wouldn't play. So with Dylan Edwards, if he doesn't come back, this is probably the K-State team that you're looking at here. And I'm sorry, I from the pessimistic side, there's probably a lot of K-State fans listening going, oh, I'm not going to be optimistic. I mean, you lost to a team that lost to Tarleton State at home.
Yeah.
And Army doesn't that was a team you were facing that was just not going to throw the football.
They're
you talk about 1924 offenses, that's literally what it is.
Their longest or their leading passer was a wide receiver who was
like
1 of 1 for 52 yards. That was their leading passer.
And what's more concerning about that is there were plenty of 3rd and 5s, 4th and 4s, where it's like, okay, keep your eye on. I know it's tough with the option, and if you get the push, but against Tarleton State, Army was not getting the push whatsoever, and that's concerning coming off a week in which K-State barely beat North Dakota. They're 1-2, and their one win is barely against a team that was picked 7th or 8th in the Missouri Valley Conference. This is one of the more talented Chris Kleiman teams that we've ever seen. But you're in dire straits now. Keep in mind, too, and this may be a make or break point for the Cats, they have a short week this week. They have to play on Friday in Tucson against Arizona. Arizona was not picked to be very good in the Big 12, but they've blown out their first 2 opponents here. Weaker opponents, yes. But if you go into Tucson and you lose, you're now 0-2 in conference play. It's done at that point. There is no, there's 8 games left and we can win all 8. Tell me why I should believe that. If you've lost to Army, barely beat North Dakota, lost to Iowa State, lost to Arizona, it's rough, right? I have never seen K-State lose a game in the Snyder, at least the second Snyder stint, and the Kleiman era like this against an Army team that just didn't want to throw the football. Maybe North Dakota State when they went in years ago and played Jake Waters when he was the quarterback there.
Yeah.
But that's North Dakota State. That's one of the best FCS teams that we've ever seen. Army, credit to them and Jeff Monken, they just said we're holding on to the ball the entire game.
6 of 7 on 4th down for Army, 10 of 22 on 3rd. They 40 minutes, over 40 for Army, 19 for 31. And Kleiman apparently kick return for a touchdown's bad. That's bad news for the Wildcats, shockingly. I get what he's saying when the defense had to go back out, but
Defense had to be pissed.
oh, you score points.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Give me the oxygen
the
tank.
offense was doing a great job. Yeah, nice. All I know is bring back the border war every single year. That was one of the most exciting moments.
Can it be game day next year? If these two teams, can it be game day?
Michigan, Oklahoma? What are we doing
here?
Missed
a chance. What an atmosphere that was.
Doing here? Paul? At least he had an SEC out there. That was fun. Missouri finally ranked 25th. 25th. They are 26th in the coaches poll, 25th in the AP. Let's see if they can keep that up. We'll talk some Chiefs and NFL next. Jack Johnson. Darcy. We have a couple of
Updates
for you. One on the Chiefs from Reed's Nuggies. Appreciate you.
I love this part of the job where when you have to give credit, it's always a funny username.
It's always great.
It's never like I love it. Love that username.
From Reed's Nuggies. It's been since 2015 since the Chiefs were in sole possession of last place of the AFC West when they started 1-5. They finished 11-5. Yeah, that was the last time they were in last place, sole possession of last place. I think it was, I don't know when it was, when they started 0-1 and every other team in the AFC West started 1-0.
Well, that 2015 year was when they started 1-5.
No, I know that. I know that's when they were in
But
sole
it's just
possession.
0-1. So
I'm just trying to think of just 0-1.
that first
and
game they lost to
three,
Houston, right?
Yeah, but the other three teams would have had to been 1-0.
Yeah. Okay. So that's 2015.
I don't know when the last time that was, but yeah. So yeah, since 2015, so for a decade, which we all know because they've ran the AFC West. So we found that. So thank you, Reed's Nuggies. And from
this one's not Reed's Nuggies. This is Jackson Schneider, buddy of mine, a voice of the Newman Jets. I'm dumb because I said that game in Tucson this Friday for K-State, conference game, it's actually not. Even though these two teams are in the same conference and they're playing in week 3, this game was decided upon a few years back, I believe. So technically at the time, it was Pac-12 versus Big 12, not a conference game. This happened in basketball, I believe, not too long ago either, where it might have been somebody like Arizona State played somebody in one of those Thanksgiving tournaments.
Yeah.
Technically not a conference game. So this one will not count. So where I said you start 0-2, kind of tough to overcome, technically if you lose this one, you are 1-3, but you're still only 0-1 in conference play, which gives you that shot to play great in conference play. But I know for a lot of K-State fans, you just want to win. Just beat Arizona, get back to 500, maybe get Dylan Edwards back. But again, that's Jackson Snyder. Wanted to give him credit. He brought that to my attention because that literally centered around my whole point of you go 0-2 in Big 12 play. Well, guess what? It's not a conference game. Speaking
non-con.
to myself,
Everyone
I'm dummy.
knows non-con. Although if you told someone 10 years ago that Arizona and K-State were playing a conference game, you'd also be like, what?
I wouldn't be so thrown off. This would be an easy point for me to make.
I do want to talk about last night's AFC West, or not AFC, AFC showdown between the Ravens and the Bills. That was one of the greatest games that I have ever witnessed, especially in a Week 1 game. I get it. Stakes-wise, it's nowhere near obviously a playoff game. But did this almost remind you of the Rams-Chiefs? A little bit. This is one of the greatest regular season games I've seen, and very rarely does especially Week 1, but a game with so much hype around two of the best teams in the AFC or two of the best teams in the NFL live up to the hype. This game did and more. Ravens up. They're up 15. About 5-6 minutes left to go in the game. They lose. If you turn the TV off early, my wife did. I told her, I was like, the Bills came back and won. She was perplexed, confused, bewildered.
They have like a 99% chance of winning that game. They were up 15 with the ball in less than 5 minutes to go.
And the Bills come away with a 41-40 win. Josh Allen said, you think Lamar should have won MVP? Hold my beer.
We can appreciate the greatness of both those guys, too. I know that we were talking about that in the first segment of, a lot of people just want to not give Mahomes credit anymore because they have the fatigue setting in. Same way with Steph Curry and the Warriors. Once they started giving the Warriors and Steph all that love, I'm tired of seeing it. But last night, if you're a fan of football, how can you not be thrilled with that being the first Sunday night football game of the year? If you're a Ravens fan, back-to-back years, you're gutted. You were in Arrowhead, lose by a toe, where Isaiah Likely went off in that game. If you're Buffalo, you're not jumping on the train just yet of this has to be the team or this has to be the Super Bowl winning team. But damn, did Josh Allen look good. I mean, that was some ridiculously talented guys going toe-to-toe against each other in a primetime slot. That was phenomenal.
Lamar looked really, really good. Derrick Henry, sans fumble, looked incredible. I don't get how Derrick Henry, he's the outlier. Every running back at that age, with his style, with the amount of miles on the tires, with his size, what he did in high school even, and yet he is somehow as good as ever. 18 carries for 169 yards. I felt bad for the Bills' safeties. You saw Keon Coleman, right? Same draft class, obviously, as Xavier Worthy. Keon looked really, really good in this one. Ed Oliver, I thought, was outstanding for the Bills. I will say the defenses on both sides, what do you take away? Ravens look like the better team overall for the majority of this game. They kind of collapsed late. But I think if you're looking from the AFC landscape, throwing KC in here, you know, it didn't matter either way because one of the good teams was going to lose, right? You're 0-1 if you're KC. One of these two teams is going to start off 0-1 as well, right? There wasn't really a worst-case scenario for you. Ravens look good. Bills look good. I'm not saying it's their year because national media has been saying that for decades.
It only adds more pressure to them. If you're given the Super Bowl crown after week 1, it only adds to the pressure because it's hard to top a performance like that from either side offensively. I mean, if you're Baltimore, you put up 40 points on the road, you should win that game 9 out of 10 times, unless you're playing Buffalo or in some cases, we don't know about this year just yet because the Chiefs only put up 21, but in a lot of cases against Kansas City, it's, you know, I feel these two teams have the horses. They've got the talent to be that Super Bowl team this year, but they've also had that for the last handful of years. They've had performances like this. Last year, remember that, I don't know if it was prime time, might have been 325 kick, when Buffalo went into Detroit and spanked the Lions, like put up 45 or 48. Like that was the game to me where you said, if not this year, when? So that's why I'm going to pump the brakes. This was phenomenal. A great football game to watch. The NFL is just, it stays on top in terms of the storylines, the cinema of it. And last night, that it doesn't get much better than that. I mean, unless that kick was from 55 by Matt Prater to win the game, but then you don't get the drive that Josh Allen had.
It was one of those games where I'm going against Josh Allen in fantasy, and that final touchdown he scored was the one that sunk me. That's the one that made me lose my matchup, and I still was okay with it. I'm still fine because it was such high-level play. It was fun to watch. Again, you can't win it in week 1. You can't crown the Super Bowl champion in week 1. But as just a fan of football, I loved watching it. I wish other teams and other fan bases would enjoy watching the Chiefs instead of hating on them.
I want to ask you a question because I feel if the team on defense last night was Kansas City in maybe a different era, maybe an earlier year of the Patrick Mahomes era, why did Baltimore not go for it on 4th and 4 with the game on the line? We can go back to that week 2 game in 2021. And they're in Baltimore. Maybe that's the difference here. But also, I feel you should be more aggressive when you're on the road. When you're at home, try to play off the crowd noise in your defense. But your defense had given up 38 points. And it's 4th and 4. I remember it was maybe 4th and 2 against Kansas City in that week 2 game where Clyde fumbled the ball and then the Ravens go down. They win the game. But Lamar's on the field and Harbaugh's yelling at him, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? Go for it. Go for it. And they had the little RPO, or might have just been a straight-up option play, a keeper for Lamar. He picks up the first down. The Ravens ice the game. The Ravens were up last night at that point. And how do you just give Josh Allen the ball back with a minute 8 to go and a timeout?
You're not playing against the Jets or the Giants. No. Well, the Jets actually look pretty good. You're not playing against the Giants.
I didn't get that at all. I thought the Ravens, you have 40 points in the game. You're telling me you don't have one play for 5 yards? I get it. You don't convert it. The Bills need 10 yards to put Matt Prater in field goal range.
But you're probably giving him a field goal either way.
Yeah, and I thought it was soft defense. But to me, if it's a 14-13 game, okay, well, our defense has been good tonight. Yeah. The Ravens' defense was collapsing, and they also were on the field for an extended period of time in the fourth quarter. They went 3 and out on that drive. I also don't get running play, jet sweep, and then a check down throw.
It was one of those situations that I have thought coaches, I don't know if they pucker. I don't know if they just get so caught up in what it used to be, but teams are so scared when they have a lead that they forget what got them there. Like, you're, again, going against the Bills. You're going against a high-powered offense. You're going against a team that you know, at a minimum, they're probably going to put up a field goal. At a minimum. Why not do what got you there, what got you to 40 points? Stop trying to ice the game away with 5 minutes left and give them a chance. I know you're trying to keep the clock moving and all this stuff, but at some point, the Bills know you're running. Everyone knows you're running. why not try a play action? Why not try a key? Like, I just always have thought that coaches and teams, especially in this era, they're stuck on what the 1980s and 90s and even early 2000s used to be like. The game has changed. It has evolved. There are more points being put up on the board. You saw the Jets put up 30-plus points with Justin Fields. You see where kickoffs are going. You see how good kickers are right now, unless you're in Atlanta and you shank one or you're the Browns, right? The guys can make 55, 60-yarders.
Close to as automatic as we've ever seen.
I mean, you're seeing 50-plus yarders made like it's easy now up to 60, right? So field goal range is the 50-yard line midfield. Why are you so scared of trying to pick up 2 to 4 yards instead of saying, well, you know, Josh Allen, let's give him the ball back. That seems like the smart decision to do. Give the ball back to Josh Allen or pick up 4 yards to ice it. What's the smart decision? Try and pick up 4 yards when you're averaging, I don't know, let me see the average yards per play for 8.6 for the Ravens.
I mean, if you're Buffalo's defense and you're facing that 4th and 4, how many guys do you have to worry about on that play call? I mean, you've got Lamar Jackson back there. You've got Derrick Henry, though I doubt they would have run the ball on 4th and 4. They would have let Lamar try to make a play, whether it's with his legs or through the air. But I even look at that first play call on their final drive, where, yes, you have Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, aside from the fumble, was phenomenal last night. That first run they had, it was more of a stretch play to the left side. It was near the sideline as well. If Lamar kept that, if you wanted to have the play action, because you know Buffalo was all zeroed in on Derrick Henry, they're going to run the ball on 1st and 10 here. If for whatever reason that was a play action play call, there was nobody on that side of the field. Like Lamar could have had 40 or 50 yards and slid down in bounds and the clock could have kept moving. But those 2 play calls from Harbaugh, I think they're different if you're playing the Chiefs. The Chargers, for example, Jim Harbaugh, his brother, watch that final. Maybe you don't need to go back and watch that game. Let's just forget about it. But that final drive that the Chargers had, first play call was a pass play.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs had all 3 timeouts. They had the 2-minute warning, and it was, they want us to run the football. And we've got Najee Harris and Omarion Hampton, and they picked up 15 on the first. Because it was, why not? We're going to win this game with our best player.
Yes.
And for the Ravens, I get you can make a case for Derrick Henry. Their best player is Lamar Jackson. I would rather Lamar Jackson, even if it costs you a play where it's incomplete and the Bills keep a timeout. They already had the 2-minute warning, and they had their timeouts there. And I just feel it was scared play calling. And then to punt it back to a guy who's red hot in the last, like, you knew the Ravens defense was not getting off the field.
And I get the 4th and 2. It took was it Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox tip to Keon Coleman in the back of the end zone.
It was a fortunate play for them.
It was a fortunate play, and I don't want to gloss over that, too much, but they needed 2 yards on 4th down. It wasn't like it was 4th and 12 they needed. It was 4th and 2. You're right. I think one Harbaugh played it right and one played it wrong.
Throw the ball with your skill. It doesn't need to be. See, this is why I get it with Derrick Henry, right? So it's different. For a lot of other teams in the NFL, you do not have a running back like Derrick Henry.
Sure.
But in that spot, more so the second down play. When you got stuffed with Henry and you call a timeout, the Bills have 2 more. I'm going, all right, these next 2 plays, the second down play, we need to be able to pick up about 7 here. Or 5, maybe 5 yards at minimum to set us up with 3rd and 5. That way, the Bills really need to think about, are we going to try to run the ball here, get that final 5 with Derrick Henry, or is Lamar going to try to keep it, use his legs, or can we finally find Mark Andrews at some point in this game? But I do wonder, and it's the way the Chiefs have built up their reputation around the league, is that so many times in games just like that, when the Chiefs offense is rolling, they're not even second-guessing their opinion there. It's, we're going for it. We're not giving Patrick Mahomes the ball back in this spot. And John Harbaugh should have known that. Josh Allen won the MVP last year. Josh Allen was phenomenal last night. Yeah, he did get, as we talked about, that tip ball. Maybe it could have been picked off or something like that. It's a totally different outcome. But Josh Allen was red hot in the 4th quarter. I'm not giving him the ball back. And if we fail on 4th down, I'm going to live with it.
Yeah.
Because, again, they were in field goal range 2 plays into that drive. That just came back to bite him in the ass. And when you've got a player to the caliber of Lamar Jackson, I'm letting him decide the game right there. I absolutely am. And the same way that, Jim Harbaugh with Justin Herbert, I'm letting him decide the game here. If we got 10 yards on a scramble and Chris Jones stays outside in the contain and it's 4th and 4, I'm leaving him out there. Because the Chiefs needed a touchdown anyway. So, yeah, I'm letting my best player decide the outcome. I felt that John Harbaugh took the ball out of the hands of Lamar Jackson last night.
I do wonder what Andy would have done in that situation.
We know that Andy
Andy's
more so wants
probably
Spags in that
punting.
defense to win it. You're not going to complain too much. They've won 3 Super Bowls with Patrick Mahomes, but more often than not, it's unless they were on.
I don't know, playoffs, Chad Henne, 4th and 2. Different situation.
4th and 2 though,
Different
and you had that cheat code play with Tyreek, that just
I
quick
know.
little 4-yard out. No, Andy's punting in that spot.
Yeah.
We know that.
Field Yates is coming on shortly. Before we bring him on, I want to touch like 3 to 4 minutes with you, Jack, on the Royals. I was irritated with Q's lineup last night. I'm not trying to be, you lose, it's Q's fault. That's not what I'm trying to do. But you have a righty on the mound. Carter Jensen hit his first hit, double. Caglione, play him. But you go with almost a lineup you would rock against a lefty starting. You have Grichuk in there. You have Lofton in there. You have Luke Maley in there. Of course, Cags and Jensen, they get pinch hit. And, what do? They both take a walk and get on base. I was so frustrated with the roster construction. I know it's a Sunday game, but my goodness, guys, there's only 20-ish games left. What are we doing here?
I definitely had some pushback on the lineup. Randall Grichuk has been really poor over the last couple of weeks. I believe he's won for his last 15 or 16, and he's in there to hit lefties, and he was in there against a righty, which didn't quite get that. Luke Maley, we just seen, even since Carter Jensen's been called up, because he hasn't caught a game yet. Every time he's played, it's been a pinch-hitting role or he's DH'd. And so for Luke Maley, maybe it comes down to he knows Michael Lorenzen, he knows his pitches. That's why I think we still see him out there. I don't feel they view Caglione and Jensen the rest of the way as everyday guys, that they are going to just go in there maybe once a series. At the end of the day, as much as I love to see Cags play, he's hitting 150 on the year. And Carter Jensen, he has had some really good at-bats. He's still brand new into this league. And not saying Luke Maley's much better. Not saying Randall Grichuk was the right move. But I feel if you were to ask Matt Quatrero about that lineup yesterday, it comes down to they don't have an off day this week. So they play 7 straight games against Cleveland and then Philadelphia. Then you turn it back around. You've got Toronto and Seattle.
Yeah.
It's about keeping some of these guys fresh.
But Jensen and Cags are fresh.
They are. It's more so about, I think, the lineup as a whole, and Bobby Witt Jr. not being there for the majority of this series absolutely stung. I'm not going to see a world in which, Maley's not going to play at all and Grichuk's not going to play at all. I mean, they've got a lefty tomorrow night. They'll be tomorrow and Wednesday, I believe. They'll see Logan Allen on Wednesday, and they will see Joey Cantillo on Tuesday. So I would imagine we'll see lineups that have Randall Grichuk out there again.
Which makes sense.
But that
last
Sunday
night
lineup
or Sunday did not make sense.
We have not seen since September 1st Caglione and Carter Jensen play back-to-back games, and I don't see a world in which that's going to happen at some point. I feel they are really trying to only give them minimal opportunities, and whether we like it or not, that seems to be the game plan, keeping Maley out there to catch some of the guys that he knows, and for Caglione to not overexpose him in the way that it kind of happened back in June and July.
2 games back still of that final wild card spot. They went 2 of 3 in this series against the Twins. Is that enough to keep you optimistic?
I'm sure
I know sweep obviously was ideal, but it's 2 of 3, 2 of 3. I know they have a tough stretch coming up.
Yeah. I feel you have to be about 1 game back when you take on Seattle and Kansas City next week, and you just can't have a losing road trip here. And it's really tough. They struggle in Cleveland. Philadelphia is just a hornet's nest to walk into. That's a lineup that's cooking right now. And then you've got the AL East frontrunner in Toronto and a wild card team like the Mariners. It's a very tough 4-series stretch. But if they can get to that point right before the Seattle series where they're a game back of them, I like where they are, because then you got to take 2 of 3 and you find yourself in a totally different spot. It just feels in September we've had this, the pendulum swinging of, it's over. They got to do this. And then they lose and they find a way to crawl their way back into it. They did miss an opportunity, though, yesterday against a bad Twins team. They had beaten Pablo Lopez and Joe Ryan. You have Bailey Ober, who had been good against the Royals this year.
Yeah.
But they missed an opportunity. And 2 games, there's not a lot of time left. There's about 20 games left in the season, and you can't just be hanging around 2 games back. Eventually, you got to make that jump into one of those playoff spots.
Jack, appreciate it. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Field Yates of ESPN will be our guest. The Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Welcome back to the Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, joined now by Field Yates of ESPN. Field, welcome back. Jason was questionable, downgraded to out with a sickness, so you get me 2 weeks in a row. Field, how lucky are you?
I feel very lucky today, but I got to be honest with you. I'm a little dubious about this sickness. Like, are we talking tummy ache, or what's going on here?
I don't know. He might just be avoiding you. This is back-to-back Mondays, Field.
You know, starting to sense a trend here. I'm starting to sense a trend. You know, 1 week is an occurrence. 2 weeks might be a trend. 3 weeks would be a streak. So let's keep our eyes out on next Monday to see if Jason decides to tolerate me for only 15 minutes. That's all we're asking out of him.
Field, I want to start here because we talked in the first hour. There's an overarching theme. In today's NFL, where offense is becoming more prevalent, you're going up against Josh Allen. Why do teams get so scared late? The Ravens are up 15, and they're just trying to run the clock out with 5.5 minutes left. Besides, what got them there? Do what got you there. They got so scared, they puckered up. They lose that game, which we can get to the overarching theme in a moment, but it just felt like Harbaugh with a chance. 4th and 4, you punt. Your defense is getting shredded. Why not put the ball in Lamar's hands? Why do leading teams get scared?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think there is something to be said, though, for teams that have been there and done it at the highest level, who I think, whether it's a switch that is then flipped or the teams that are not afraid of the moment in the first place have the capacity to get to the top of the mountain. I don't know if it's kind of a chicken or an egg thing, but like, as we know, big games, big moments, what often happens to the Chiefs is they play their best, right? Because they're a fearless group who has kind of been forged through, I wouldn't say adversity, because they've more often won than they have lost, but big moments, right? Like you go through, maybe like I always think back to, and I know that, it's a long ways away from right now, but like that first AFC Championship game they play against the Patriots, like it's obviously very disappointing to lose in overtime. It might be the best that ever happened to them because it puts a different chip on your shoulder. It makes you realize that, like, you're definitely good enough to get there, but execution is going to matter. And it feels like with the Ravens, and I think Lamar Jackson is beyond brilliant, and I think John Harbaugh is a terrific head coach as well. But until they kind of win at the highest level, these kind of questions are going to follow them in terms of regular season decision-making. And it's the difference between, or at least part of the difference between being 0-1 and 1-0.
Yeah, I just find myself wondering. I feel like if they played the Chiefs, they would have gone for it on that 4th down, yet they didn't against the Bills. I wonder if more teams start doing that, because when teams play KC, feels like they become a lot more aggressive. Let's just hit on this game just a little longer here, because that was one of the best Week 1 games I've ever witnessed. An incredible comeback by Josh Allen and the Bills. Matt Prater, from kicking out of high school at age 41 to kicking the game winner that was nearly blocked, but Josh Allen putting the team on his back. Keon Coleman, hell of a year 2 start for him, over 100 yards. What did you take away from this game? Any thoughts, any overarch? You can't win the Super Bowl in Week 1, obviously, but both these two teams looked very good offensively, while defensively maybe a little bit to leave leave desired here.
Yes, I would agree on that latter point. I think the Ravens are the better team when they play their best ball. The first half, I thought, was sort of part and parcel for how the Ravens are going to be able to play this season. The Ravens, of course, in the second half, like it was a comedy of errors, some self-inflicted wounds, and then obviously the brilliance of Josh Allen, who was an alien in the second half. Beyond that, I think that the AFC quickly kind of revealed there probably are 3 or 4 teams that are going to prove to be a cut above the rest. And I don't feel any differently about the 3 teams that we came into the season thinking were the best in the AFC. In whatever order you want to choose, the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Bills. Feels like all 3 of those teams are going to be elite by the time we get down to the end of the season. But for Baltimore and Buffalo, like, the result matters. It doesn't matter in the sense of how it changes my perception of the team. It matters in the sense that at the end of the year, one of those teams could be 13-4 and one could be 12-5, and we could say September 7th, Sunday Night Football, nearly midnight in Western New York, was the time in which the Buffalo Bills wrapped up the 2 versus the 3, or the 1 versus the 2 seed. That, to me, is how that game matters in the grand scheme.
Field Yates is our guest. When it comes to the Chiefs game, obviously they fell in Brazil. The first half was atrocious. The defense in the second half was brutal, but Patrick almost put the team on his back to try and lead them to a victory. Justin Herbert looked really, really good. Keenan Allen, maybe it was just the Bears that made him look bad and old because he looked pretty darn good for the Chargers. What did you take away from that game, and how nervous should Chiefs fans be? Obviously, we talk about it. We're very close here. Maybe from a little bit of an outsider's perspective, what did you take away from that game?
Yeah, I mean, a tough go, obviously. I think my biggest takeaway is we're going to have to see how they're going to be able to manufacture offense this year, especially if this Xavier Worthy injury proves to be one that costs them a lot of time. I haven't seen, so I apologize. I'd be surprised if I missed it, but no. I don't think Andy Reid has said anything today along the lines of a timeline for Xavier Worthy. But let's presume he's out for some period of time. He's razor thin, right? I mean, Hollywood Brown's going to step into a number 1 wide receiver role. A month ago, we might have thought that Hollywood Brown would be the Chiefs' wide receiver 3 or 4, right? I mean, obviously, Rashee Rice, at that point, it seemed like a suspension was either not a lock or it was potentially going to happen during the middle of the year as opposed to the beginning of the season. So offense is going to be difficult for them to manufacture. But that's part of the reason why Patrick Mahomes is who he is that he was able to kind of overcome some of the limitations. Defensively, they're going to be fine. I would say that that Friday night game taught me more about the Chargers than it did the Chiefs.
Yeah, I've been saying that people are crowning the Broncos as the AFC co-favorite or the surprise team or the next team in line when I still think the Chargers are that team, at least in my opinion. The Broncos told me what I know about the Broncos, that defensively they're outstanding, but offensively I still think it's going to be a struggle for them at times. With the Chiefs wide receiver room, as we're talking about being as decimated as it is, Tyreek Hill sits down there in Miami, didn't look too happy on the sideline. Tua Tagovailoa, according to Tyreek, the most accurate quarterback he's ever played with, very inaccurate in that game. Things look bad in Miami. Does Tyreek get traded? When does he get traded? And could the Chiefs actually be interested in bringing him back?
So here's what I'll say. I don't know if he's going to get traded. I will just say that the vibes yesterday on that team, in that huddle on the sideline, were about as bad as any that I could see in week 1. We're going to look back in a few weeks, a few months, and we're going to say, can you believe that happened in week 1? My colleague and friend Bill Barwell reminded people on Twitter yesterday about some of the things that took place in week 1 of the 2024 season, including the fact that the Bengals lost to the Patriots. There were some quirky things that take place every single week. So you got to be careful in terms of expecting those things to hold true for the remainder of the season. Also noted the Commanders lost by 17 points. The 49ers had dropped 32 points on the Jets. The Saints offense was going insane. Okay, I say all of that to note that I do have some skepticism about this Dolphins team. I came into the year very nervous about this team. I felt like they were kind of a house of cards, felt like there was a bad chemistry amongst the team. On top of that, I felt like they had become a little bit too predictable on offense. It certainly felt like the Colts knew exactly what was coming yesterday, because that team was smothering the Miami offense. And is it logical to think that Miami should be shopping a player like Tyreek Hill if they can get some draft capital? It is. It's a very expensive contract. So trading it is not going to be easy, and it probably would require Miami to eat a lot of money to facilitate it. But, yeah, right now, when you're the Chiefs, let's just imagine Xavier Worthy misses a good stretch of time, you're talking about 5 games where you are getting at least, Hollywood Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster and Tyquan Thornton, with maybe eventually potentially getting Jalen Rolls back in the mix. It's a pretty thin group right now for a team that, of course, wants to compete at the highest levels.
Field Yates is our guest right here, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers really impressed me. The entire game impressed me, by the way. The Jets looked pretty darn good. Breece Hall, obviously. Justin Fields looked darn good out there. Garrett Wilson is Garrett Wilson. But Aaron Rodgers, wow. I mean, I know the Steelers' defense, I guess, you might be a little concerned about, but play action. It feels perfect for him at this point in his career. 4 touchdowns, just slicing through that Jets defense, which, again, I think we all expect to be pretty good. That may have been my biggest surprise or takeaway from week 1. What were your thoughts on Rodgers and the Steelers?
Yeah, it's certainly near the biggest takeaways or biggest headlines, maybe even biggest surprises from week 1. Rodgers, I thought, and some of this is logical, right? Rodgers looked healthier. He was moving around better. He was accurate, which he always is, of course, right? That's been a strength of his game for 20-plus years. But, yes, I did think that was an impressive performance. The Jets, I still think, have, a lot of talent on defense, and certainly at the beginning of the game yesterday, they were doing a good job of bottling up Aaron Rodgers. There was an early sack from Quinnen Williams that felt like probably an all-too-familiar face for Rodgers, who I'm sure saw plenty of him and practiced in training camp during his 2 seasons with the Jets. But Rodgers moved around really well. I was surprised because I thought the Steelers were a championship defense and an average at best offense. Yesterday they played the exact opposite. That was, I don't know about championship level offense, but pretty darn close with the way that Rodgers was slinging it. And the defense was big when it needed to be at the very end of the game. That being said, it was not exactly a banner performance for that Steelers defense. But Rodgers playing the way that he did yesterday was very surprising. And then, there were a handful of other surprising things this week 1. The Lions offense to me was a big surprise. I thought they would be better. Absolutely had there were reasons to believe it would be a little worse, but to not score a touchdown until basically garbage time was very surprising to me for that Lions offense.
Is that the offensive line, in your opinion? I know Jared Goff at times has had bad games. For the most part, he's very, very consistent. He does a great job of working within that offensive game plan, but obviously no Ben Johnson. He's now in Chicago. The offensive line, they lost, was it their center retired, if I'm not mistaken?
It did. Frank Ragnow retired, yep.
Yeah, so you lose your center and you lose your OC. Should we expect a decent depression from Detroit this year?
I tell you what, I wasn't thinking so coming into the season, but that was tough. And, a part of me wants to look ahead and say, hey, next week they draw the Bears. Here's what it's going to look like. I have some confidence in the Bears. We haven't seen them play just yet. We'll see. There's a chance that by the end of the night tonight, morning shows tomorrow are formulating their debates around whether Ben Johnson is the most valuable offensive play caller in the NFL, right? If the Bears come out and win tonight and Caleb Williams looks sharp, I can imagine that will be one of the refrains. Not sure that the Bears have to, win. And, either way, it could be that the Packers defense is just that good. Very dispiriting start from Detroit, though. They just had zero explosive plays, it felt like, throughout the entirety of the game, and they're just way too talented to have that disappointing of a start to the season.
Field Yates is our guest. A couple of very quick ones before I let you go here. Chiefs-Eagles, do the Chiefs get somewhat of a Super Bowl revenge? Obviously not a playoff game, but do they at least take the belt from the ass?
I thought of it described that way. I think it's
Chris Jones talked about it. He even goes, he still has a belt mark. BTA.
Yeah. I do think it'll be tough. Playing at home is obviously a gigantic advantage. Arrowhead, very difficult place to play, and just, your team has 2 extra days, albeit almost like 1 extra day because they're probably traveling the entirety of Saturday last weekend. I think with the injuries, I think that the Eagles are going to find a way here. That being said, I'm not going to rush into panic mode. The schedule sets up nicely after week 2 for the Chiefs to kind of find their footing, and they just got to get some major contributions from players that they probably weren't expecting to early on in the season.
Yeah. Field, again, final question here. How many fantasy football leagues are you in, and what's your record going to be when it's all said and done after tonight? Because you told me you had 2 drafts on that Thursday. You had one on Wednesday. You sound like you're in 30-plus leagues.
Yeah, so it's the number is 17. That includes the Guillotine League, and then it also includes a league that's like 3,000 people. It's mostly for charity. It's a really cool thing that we do, but it's in a league, but it's almost like playing the 50-50 raffle at a baseball game. So sort of not really in one. That is a great question. I would guess probably honestly, I felt like probably close to 500. There's a handful that are hanging in the balance. So I didn't feel it was a weird fantasy week yesterday. I frankly, we're going to have some locker room talks this week because not all the teams performed to expectation, and that's not going to fly in the Gators Gonna Eat clubhouse.
Oh, great name, by the way. And Jerome Ford, I got lied to. He was supposed to be the bell cow workhorse. Thanks, flex spot, giving me a nice that. And he went up against Josh Allen Field. No, it's not good for me over here. I forget my the Mighty Morphin Bauer Rangers.
I like it.
Instead of Power Rangers. Yeah, I did my best for Brock Bowers. Field,
I like it.
Field, really appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you next week. Maybe Jason will be back. Maybe it won't be 3 times in a row.
I'm not counting on that, but we'll talk to either you or Jason next week.
Field, really appreciate it. We'll take a break, come back. Sports Radio 810 WHB. Welcome back to the Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, thank you again to ESPN's Field Yates. Always a blast talking with Field. Great insight there as well. We'll talk with Joel Pinfield in the noon. Going to talk some Royals with Joel. Want to see where he thinks the Royals stand. 2 games out still of that final wild card spot. They fell last night 5-1 to the Twins. Again, a perplexing lineup in my opinion. Want to get his thoughts on that. The replaying right now on the TV, the open hand punch slap by Thierry Tart. And I just find the inconsistency, which why would I be surprised of the inconsistency of the NFL? The NFL stands for inconsistency. Little known fact is what it stands for. But you can barely touch a guy, but if your fist is closed, like Puka did last year, you're gone. Auto toss. You can wind up like you're in that slap boxing competition, and it's all good. That's just 15. I am surprised by that, and I'm surprised by Thierry Tart. Credit to him having a great game. He was really good, and that big paw of his came in handy later on. Being so brazen on Instagram, following the game, just talking smack is what it is. But, man, I don't know if I would talk smack. I mean, you won. Congratulations. To the winner goes the spoils. But, dog, you punched a guy in a game. You got lucky. I wouldn't be talking smack after that.
Yeah, I think that the fact that he was able to stay in the game after that, I mean, I would be talking trash as well if I was him. I mean, he had a huge impact on that game down the stretch.
He was phenomenal.
And the Chargers might not win that game without him. And maybe that's crazy to say, but he blocked, batted down multiple passes at the line of scrimmage that if those get completed, the Chiefs' offense maybe turn those into points. And so, yeah, I mean, if anyone has the right to, talk trash, it's Thierry Tart after that performance.
Yeah, he was a very, very solid game. Chargers, again, they look really good. This is one of the few times the Chargers' offseason hype actually lived up to at least a game. So, tip your cap. Chargers looked good. Again, told everyone I still think they are better than the Denver Broncos. For the Chiefs, right now, according to David Purdom, Patrick Mahomes begins the week as a home underdog against the Eagles. They are 1.5-point home underdogs. If the line holds, Mahomes will be a home underdog for only the second time in his NFL career when they were 2.5-point dogs against the Bills. Week 6 of 2022.
Did they win that game?
I
don't know if they did.
Chiefs, I doubt it. Chiefs, Bills get them in the regular season, and they lost 24-20. And then they won in the playoffs 42-36 in OT.
Typically how it goes.
And then the rules got changed. Because, of course, for Josh Allen, you change the rules. For the Bills, you change the rules. Chiefs, no chance.
You saw it happen this offseason with the electronic chain gang. They're trying to implement.
Honestly, I've had no issue with the rule changes that have been implemented. I wish they would have been there the whole time. It's just funny that anytime it happens to the Bills, it gets changed. It happens to KC, no, we're not changing that. Silly talk.
When even worse, it's almost like the national perception of it. Like, oh, the Chiefs get all the calls, the Chiefs get all of this. But when they want the same treatment as the Buffalo Bills or the Baltimore Ravens, they get seen as the villain.
When we're bringing on Joel Pinfield in just a moment here, but when you look down from that Chiefs game, you break down what transpired. Yeah, they fell. Yeah, there are some parts that don't look good. I am still fairly optimistic by a lot of what happened. Patrick looked as good as he's looked in years. That second half, he was outstanding. The offensive line on the left side, for being a rookie and a second-year guy in Kingsley and Josh Simmons, quite frankly, I thought looked pretty solid. I thought Trey Smith didn't do a great job in run block. I thought Jawan Taylor is still the penalty factor that's somehow gotten worse. But if you want to be a little optimistic, that left side Again, maybe people have a different viewpoint. I thought Kingsley was fine and Josh Simmons was good. Run game still needs to get going, but Hollywood came on in that second half. We'll see what happens against the Eagles. Joel Pinfield coming up next, talking some Royals. The Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Welcome back to the Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, Joel Penfield of One Royal Way Podcast, KCSN. Joel, welcome, baby.
I'm glad to be here.
You're following Field this time.
There we go.
I think you went in front of him.
I did last Monday.
Yeah,
yes.
now you're following him. It's just you and Field, Joel and Field, just hand in hand.
Real tough to I was okay with being in front of him, but following up Field Yates that's a bit of a taller task.
I believe in you. We're going to talk some fun Royals. Fun, maybe a strong word, but we'll talk Royals right now for the next half hour or so. And you and I were talking this break. We're pretty positive on Q, maybe even more than most. I think more
Far
than a lot
more
of
than
fans.
most, yeah.
More than a lot of fans. I do wonder what the average thought is. I do think we're sometimes a little harsh on a guy who was great last year. I think this year has had some injuries to deal with, to contend with. I think that expectations maybe were a little too high. I think that he sometimes gets a bad rap for guys not coming through in the bullpen, even if some of the moves aren't great. It is still on these guys to come through. But yesterday's lineup was confounding, to put it mildly. I can somewhat understand Randall Grichuk, although it wasn't a lefty. But Luke Maile over Carter Jensen, he rips a double, gets his first hit yesterday. And you go with the guy who feels like gets one hit every month. Jack Caglione, of course, they pinch hit. He draws a walk. Carter Jensen pinch hits. He draws a walk. Lorenzen, I'm sorry. If he goes, I want Luke Maile as my catcher, you say, I don't care. You're the fifth starter. We're going for offense here. What was the thought process behind that Sunday lineup when there's 20 games left?
So the argument to not have Carter Jensen in there, and this is something that he's talked about, something that they've talked about, just he still needs to get acclimated to these guys pitching to him. They're the reason why they gave him a little bit of a soft landing on Saturday, having him catch those last two innings in the game on Saturday. Obviously, game well in hand, so you can get away with it. But his first inning was with Luinder Avila, who he's thrown or has caught for 3 years, and Sam Long had a little bit of time with in AAA. So there is an acclimation process to him getting used to throwing or catching all of these different pitchers at the big league level that he hasn't done before. So I understand that to a degree. But at a certain point, you need to put your best 9 out there, and Carter Jensen is involved in that right now. I know that it's a very small sample. It's his first week in the big leagues. I've been pretty impressed with what I've seen. He hits the ball hard. He's got a level of patience that you don't often see. He's got some swing decision stuff he's got to clean up, but it's not near as drastic as some of the stuff we saw from Jack his first time around in the big leagues. So while sacrificing defense, especially one of the most important positions, is a tricky spot, I would have given Carter that spot, and then Luke Maile becomes your third catcher instead of the other way around. The Grichuk thing I don't understand. I would rather have Jack in there. The at-bats have been pretty solid from him since he's come back. Looks like he's cleaned up some of the swing decision stuff. There's a lot more patience there, and he's elevating the ball, and he's taking more shots with fastballs in the zone. Maybe a little too patient in spots, but I'll take that over swinging at everything like he did his first few weeks in the big leagues. And Randall Grichuk is strictly a platoon guy, and even then he hasn't really come through against lefties and pitch hit situations either. So you have to put your best 9 out there. Sunday lineups happen. We see these lineups drop, and this is not Royals exclusive. Teams do this throughout baseball. Sure. And in mid-June, it's fine. Sure. You need to give guys a break. Dog days of summer, 7-game road trip coming up. We got a flight. Hey, man, take the day. We got to get these guys some at-bats so they're ready to go when we need them. Yeah, with 19 games left, you need your best 9 out there. And without Bobby Witt Jr. in the lineup, you really got to amp it up a little bit, and Jack and Carter, I think, give you a better chance.
Yeah, I was just very surprised, not trying to rip on Q, don't want to be that guy, but I felt like yesterday's lineup was one that deserving to at least question what the thought process was behind it. The Royals 73-70. They're 2 games out still of that final wild card spot. Feels like they cannot get above that 2 number. They got to 1.
And then came right back to 2.
And then came right back down. You saw the Mariners win. Red Sox and Yankees have, I think, uncatchable at this point. It seems like Red Sox and Yankees.
It's between the Rangers and the Mariners right now. And now Cleveland as well. They're 1 game behind you in Tampa. It's like 4 teams for that 1 spot.
Yeah, Tampa has somewhat fallen back again. They've lost 3 straight after that torrid stretch that they were on, winning 8 straight. But you're right, Cleveland is right there. They're only a half game back. Massive series now. I know the Royals think that, hey, take care of business against Cleveland, but Cleveland's saying, hey, you take care of the Royals, you might be moving your way to that final wild card
This is a
spot.
loser leaves town match for that final wild card spot, I think.
And you have Ryan Bergert on the mound. He has been really good since coming to Kansas City. What do you look at in this series? A massive series. What stands out to you? 4-game series, too, not a 3-game, a 4-game.
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting. I mentioned a little joking there. It's loser leaves town, but like, I think you win this series, it essentially knocks Cleveland out, or at least morally could knock them out. But the same thing could happen if you lose 3 or 4. You lose 3 or 4, you're toasted in this, depending on what the Rangers and what the Mariners do. And those two teams really aren't playing that well right now either. I know that the Mariners punked Atlanta on Sunday, but they had really been struggling on that East Coast stretch that they were on. So I think that you have to try and win the series. A split would be fine, but you're probably still 2 back, and you don't make up any ground, nor do you lose any. And then you got to go play Philly this weekend. So I think that's why this series is so important, because you're not going to go and win that series in Philly unless they just get hot and find a way. But what I've seen from this team is that when they have to level up in competition a little bit and play some of the more upper echelon teams, they're not on that caliber. So winning this series is important just to try and keep pace and stay in the fight. But lose it, and that may be time of death.
How concerned are you with Bobby Witt and that injury?
So
back spasms.
Right. So I was there on Saturday, and Q said they made it seem like it was not related to the back tightness that he had at the middle of July. I think it was after that Marlins-Chicago series. They said this doesn't seem related to that. It was just a spasm, and they're just hoping that it, is able to clear up on its own. He responded well to some testing over the weekend. MRIs came back that it wasn't anything more than just a back spasm, and they're hoping that, we'll see if he's in the lineup tonight. If he responded well to testing and he's in the lineup tonight, that is an indicator that it was just a kind of a fluky thing, and we'll see where that. But the tenor that I got from Q and the staff there was that it was not an massive red flag concern that it's going to be an IL stint or anything like that. Because if it's an IL stint or he's not in the lineup for the next 2 days as they're trying to let it clear up, I mean, that's a massive problem.
Yeah.
They scored 11 runs without him on Saturday. This team can't hold water for that long without him.
Yeah. Joel Pinfield is our guest. Cole Reagans began a rehab assignment with Omaha yesterday, and he looked extremely good. Mm-hmm. What do you take away of Cole Reagans' rehab start? How long does he need to stay down in AAA? If he does get called up, obviously a pitch count. Where do you land? What do you see the Royals doing with Cole?
Well, I like seeing the fastball up to 97. That was a good sign.
Yeah.
He got, I think, 12 swings and misses. He struck out 6 consecutive batters. Some of this is also, you got to grade it on the curve of it's AAA, and AAA is really bad. But I think he had a 47% called strike whiff percentage. The stuff seemed to be there for him, which was really good, because when he had that rehab assignment after I think it was the groin strain, he didn't look great. But they still brought him back after the one rehab start, and then he throws the 1 game in St. Louis, and then he's been on the shelf since. I think they give him another 1, maybe 2, and then you're just going to try and get him for the sprint to the finish in those last 2 weeks. And when you do, it's going to be max 4 innings, maybe 5, depending on how much they want to make his pitch count. Where they want to have that for that last 2 weeks. That's where Luinder Avila is like a piggyback situation, or a John Bolin, and can handle 2-3 inning spurts on the backside of a Cole Reagans 3 to 4 inning stretch. But I think anything you get from Cole at this point, considering how long he's been on the injured list, is gravy. And if he comes back and he is the Cole Reagans that we saw at the end, in last season and in the playoffs, I mean, that could be the difference in a couple of games that ultimately could lead you to October. Just having that guy in your rotation for even 4 innings. He gives you 4 innings, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk, couple hits and a run. Like, you're going to feel like you're in position to win that game.
Is that where Lorenzen might be the odd man out?
I think so, but
it could be Kolek.
It could be Kolek, one of Lorenzen or Kolek, but I think given what I've seen in just a couple of start sample, I think Stephen Kolek is solid, and I feel comfortable with him in the rotation. Lorenzen has relief experience. Kolek has been a starter for pretty much his entire big league career to this point. And so I think Lorenzen in shorter bursts, like we saw in the play, like he was pretty solid when he pitched in the playoffs last year. In 2 innings, stuff can tick up a little bit. You can pare down the repertoire a little bit and add some value to a bullpen that needs some depth.
Where are you at with Lugo and Harvey? I know Harvey threw a bullpen, I believe.
Harvey threw a live BP, and Cruz threw a live BP on Saturday. Both came out of it feeling good. Cruz a little bit further along than Harvey from what Q said. But both came out of it well, been responding well, and are on the right track. We don't have a definitive timeline, but hopefully you're able to get those guys, similarly the last couple of weeks of the season with Cole, you get those guys back. You get essentially 4 pitchers back healthy or close to it for the last couple of weeks could be massive.
Yeah, Seth Lugo, any
I haven't
thoughts?
heard any. I haven't heard anything there.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just wondering because Harvey and Cruz, I think Cruz more so than Harvey. Harvey's just been perpetually injured, though. I don't think he's given him a run still. But he's only thrown like 9 or 10 innings. But Cruz, I think, definitely helps the middle to back end of that bullpen. You can probably move one of the lefties that you don't trust because right now I don't think they really trust Daniel Lynch. I don't think you really trust Sam Long, although Sam Long's had a few
Sam Long's been low-key
outings.
Decent for about a month now. Like, I know that people still have April in their mind, which is totally
and
fair.
May and June.
Well, I think he got hurt after.
Okay,
I think he was hurt in May and June, but like April, it was so bad, and then he went on the injured list for a while. But since like I want to say like the middle of June, he's actually been kind of decent.
He's been decent.
Don't necessarily want him in high leverage spots, but it's a much more tenable situation when he goes out to pitch compared to what it was at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, and for me, I don't care if it's lefty or righty. I'm trusting Taylor Clark or Steven Cruz ahead of Sam Long or Daniel Lynch. I know you're going to look at Angel Zerpa's ERA compared to Lynch, and you'll say, well, why not Lynch? Lynch just has not felt comfortable out there all season long.
And Zerpa's been really solid for about a month now, too. So, And Luinder Avila is earning some innings. That stuff is ridiculous.
And I was going to say, where do you land on Avila? Because he reminds you a little of Steven Cruz, where he's forcing his way into more important innings, where when Steven Cruz got called up, it was the 5th, 6th, maybe a smattering of the 7th. And then all of a sudden you're like, no, I trust Steven Cruz. That's almost where I'm at with Avila. Where do you land on Luinder?
Yeah, it's tricky because he's been a starter for so long in his career, and now you're kind of shoehorning him into a bullpen role where he has not really spent a lot of time. But when we watched him, I remember watching him in spring training in those 1 to 2 inning spurts that you saw when they're just kind of rotating pitchers and giving him innings in big league camp. And you see the way the stuff played up during those innings. The fastball, rather than being 94 to 96, was 95 to 98 with the curveball that is a plus pitch for him. And the way that thing just falls off the table. I mean, those are 2+ pitches. And at this point, this team needs innings, and with just this, even though he doesn't have the experience in the back end of the bullpen, I will just let the stuff eat and see what he has. I wouldn't be shocked if he gets a high leverage inning at some point in this Cleveland series just to see what he can do. And if he comes out of that, passes it with flying colors, that's another guy you can add in as insurance if Cruz or Harvey are not able to come back or they're not the same guy that they were pre-IL.
He's someone who has an absurd amount of movement on that 4-seamer. It's almost a cutter.
Yeah,
it's a natural.
It's like a cut ride sort of fastball. Yeah,
it's just very impressive. I love watching him pitch. Do you think there's any plan of him being a starter at some point after this year? Or is he going to be? He's been so good there. We think it plays in the bullpen. There's enough starter depth right now in the minors.
I think that's the thing. I think that's the part that makes you think you might be able to put him in the bullpen because there is so much starting rotation depth right now. And he still has the ability to hop back there if they need it. I could see them doing what they did with Daniel Lynch at the beginning of the year where it's like, hey, we don't want to – like we want to be able to keep that guy stretched out because Lynch was in – contention for that 5th spot, but they moved him to the bullpen and said we don't want to use him in a bunch of 1-inning spurts so that he can stay stretched out. I think that's maybe the plan for Avila next year, make him a multi-inning reliever, and then as he builds trust, maybe he can turn into that 1-inning high-leverage guy. But I also think his stuff is better in the bullpen than it would be over the course of starting.
Yeah.
And fastball, curveball, he's got a little feel for a changeup. But you can be a 2-pitch guy in the bullpen and thrive.
Yeah. Joel Penfield is our guest. Before we talk more Royals, what the bleep happened to Oklahoma State?
What game are you talking about? I've Men in Black memory hold it. It's gone. It does not exist on this astral plane. I have no idea what you're talking about.
I felt so bad for you. I felt so bad. You and Mick. Mick comes in at 1. Also, Cowboy, Oklahoma State. And I felt awful for you guys.
Oh
It's
my God.
I like, you know when you cringe, like, dude, Oregon, please stop. Stop, dude. You're being mean to Oklahoma State right now. You're being mean to Gundy. He's going to lift his shirt up again.
They had a 66% touchdown percentage on their first 3 plays of the game.
Pretty good.
Yeah. The back-to-back pick sixes broke me because I'm like, man, I feel so bad for Zane Flores. Like, he's in such a bad situation right now. But I knew the game was over. Gundy went into, like, turtle mode, like, halfway through the first quarter. They're on, like, the Oregon 42, and it's 4th and 8, and he punted. I'm like, okay, we're out of here. Start the plane. Let's get out of here. They're done.
When it comes to the Royals trying to find and thread the line of obviously making the playoffs, but also trying to see what you have for next year, who are the guys that roster spots aren't necessarily guaranteed? Because I think like someone like Michael Massey, for example, right? Like, how important is this final stretch? Not just for the Royals as a team, but for him. Is there a chance of, hey, we're done. We're done with the Massey experiment if things go south. Someone like Yaz, if he keeps hitting well, are you sitting here going, hey, we really want to bring you back for another year? I don't know about Cags and Jensen. I think they're pretty much there next year now. I think
those dudes run your opening day roster 26.
I think the Tyler Tolberts, I think he's probably done after this. I mean, that defense is just unplayable in center or
if they want to keep him, they have to get a legitimate platoon side.
Maybe
for
Lofton.
I think
is
Lofton
another one of those
falls
guys.
into that. I think Lofton falls into that category. I think Massey does. Now, to be fair, he has been better since coming off the injured list. He's actually had a pretty solid stretch, but
he's been fine.
The health is just such a massive concern that I can't go into next year thinking, oh yeah, we can pencil Michael Massey in for 130 games. Like, so at that point, what is he? And I don't think that he's a bench guy either, because I think he's too good for that role, but I also don't think he's good enough for an everyday spot. Does that make sense? Like, that's how I viewed him at this point.
He's not a great bench bat because he doesn't walk.
Yeah, so it would be mostly just a positional versatility thing, but I don't think he's there. I think Jonathan Bolin, this is a big stretch for him. He's out of options, so we'll see what he has, out of the bullpen. Maybe Schreiber to some degree, but I think you still have another year of control, and he's been solid this year.
Yeah, I think he's back.
Sam Long, depending on how they want to utilize him. So I think there's only a couple of guys I really think that are on the roster bubble at that point.
How good of a chance do you give the Royals of making the playoffs as they sit right here on September 8th? Obviously, big 4-game series against the Guardians, with the Guardians who are starting to heat up as well. But you have the big series against the Mariners. Where do the Royals need to be in regards to where they sit behind the Mariners to give you a legit opportunity? I mean, obviously if it's 3 games, it's possible, but where in your mind do they need to be? Can they be 2? Does it need to be 1?
I think you got to be 2 back by the time the Mariners come to town, and then that's the biggest series of the year at that point. I think if you can just hold water and be a game and a half, 2 games in any, in that direction before Seattle comes to town, that might be the best case scenario.
I guess the Rangers,
or most likely scenario. Best case scenario is obviously you rip off the series and you're, then you're tied with the Mariners going into that series, which makes it the stakes even higher.
For me, I just have the concern that the Rangers keep hanging around. I mean, the Rangers are still a game up now on KC, 1.5 games back of the Mariners. They have all these injuries, just a plethora of injuries, and yet they keep finding ways to win. Are the Rangers going to be there? Like, is that a team? I know Jason had talked about how we just keep expecting the Rangers to fall with the amount of injuries they have sustained, yet they keep winning.
The only thing that helps is that the Royals have the tiebreaker over the Rangers from the season series. So that makes it play a little bit differently in my mind. Obviously, if they're ahead, it doesn't matter. But if they end up tied with Kansas City has it over them. So that is something to consider with them as well.
So 19 games left, 4 at Cleveland, 3 in Philly, then the 3 at home against Seattle, 3 at home against Toronto, and then you finish on a 6-game West Coast stand against the Los Angeles Angels. Is it still of Anaheim? Because I'm going to still say Anaheim.
I think they're just the Los Angeles Angels.
They're in Anaheim, though. The Anaheim Angels, and then you have the Sacramento, Las Vegas, Oakland Athletics to
the
round
Los
up.
Sacra Vegas A's.
Yeah, the Lost A's. Because they're lost. They don't have a home.
Yeah.
The Angels and A's to finish the season. Of those 19 games, what do the Royals go and what do they need to do to make the playoffs in your mind?
So how many wins do they have now? 73?
73.
And they need probably, 86, 85?
It's
Yeah,
getting
it's
close.
got to be, at that point, my math is correct, 12-7, 13-6. I mean, it's not crazy. But we've also seen what this team has done for most of this season, which is they can't rip off a big win streak. They did it once in the middle of May. We haven't seen them do it at all since. So if they can win every series, then you put yourself in a decent spot, and that may be the way that they're looking at it. But I don't know. It's going to be really tough. The series with Toronto and Philly, I go into those thinking I don't think they're going to win them. I think they can win the series against Cleveland. They've played well against them for a couple of years now. Seattle's going to be tough, but I don't know. They've been a very different team on the road versus at home. So it depends on how that plays, and then you just pray you can go in and you have everything sitting in front of you and a chance to go 5-1 to end the season against the Angels and the A's.
I will say this in regards to the Royals, even in a somewhat disappointing season from what a lot of us thought.
Yeah.
If you would have said Cole Reagans doesn't look good at all and gets injured for a large chunk of the season, Chris Bubic looks great, but also gets injured for a large chunk of the season. Seth Lugo looks really, really bad for a good chunk of the season and then gets injured. You look at a bullpen with the inconsistencies that they've had. You look at
offensive ineptitude for about 3 months.
And yet they are still in the hunt. Even if they don't make the playoffs, and I don't want to be that guy where average is good enough, because I don't think average in the long run is good enough. I've been impressed with some of the resiliency that this Royals team has shown, because how many times have we thought this team is toast, they are done, and they've scratched and clawed and found ways. You've seen Vinny Pasquantino show off a little more power than I think a lot of us thought he was ever going to have. Salvador Perez has been a little inconsistent, but I think you know what he is going into next year, where he's no longer your focal point of your offense, but he can still be a number 6 hitter in your offense. I think Bobby Witt Jr. in a quote-unquote down year for him is still
He's going to be an MVP finalist.
An MVP finalist. Again, you still need a leadoff hitter, I think is what you found, and maybe that is Yaz, because India is more of that number 6 or 7 hitter in your lineup. You found that Kyle Isbell can be a number 9 hitter for your team and play a damn good center field. You still want to see what you have in Carter Jensen and Jack Caglione. You found out that you have a plethora of pitching
Michael
talent.
Garcia turned into one of the best third basemen in Major League Baseball.
Turned into one of the best third basemen. I mean, I think there are reasons to be, I hate saying optimistic in a year that the Royals might miss the playoffs, but optimistic in what this team looks like going forward in the sustainability category. That this will be a down year, but this is a sustainable team where you won't have the bottom fall out for, like I would say Baltimore did this year.
Yes, I think the sustainability part of it is the key, and that's what John Sherman and JJ Piccolo talked about before 2023. Was we don't want to try and just build lightning in a bottle and win for a couple of years and then have to reset. We want to build something that is going to be competitive, sustained baseball for the long haul. And I think this is the beginning of that. Even if they don't make the playoffs this year, you can see the direction and the vision. And that was the problem with the end of the Dayton Moore era, is they were just wandering around in the wilderness from 18 to 22 with no direction, trying to have a hand in both buckets, trying to hey, we want to be competitive, but we also know that we need to reset. And those teams were terrible because they did not have a direction. We have a very clear direction of where this team wants to head, what they want to do, and the players that are going to help get them there. It's just a matter of can they get over the hump.
Yeah, when you have pitching like this, starting pitching like this, your floor, like Cleveland has shown for a long time, like Milwaukee has shown, and the Tampa Bay Rays have shown, if you can get pitching and starting pitching to be effective and efficient, if you can develop it, you don't have to have the Yankees payroll, but you can still find ways to be competitive.
Yep, I think that sums it up pretty well.
Yeah. Joel Pinfield, speaking of sustainability, that's you with us right here. Always showing up at noon for us, Joel. Appreciate it. You check out all of his great work at KCSN, One Royal Way Pod. Joel, always a pleasure.
Thanks, Sterling.
We'll take a break, come back. We'll have some Chiefs audio coming your way. The Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB.
rehabbing and working his shoulder, and we'll just see where it goes day by day here. See where we end up. As far as the game goes, we've got to obviously coach better and play better. I take full responsibility for that. So, and we'll get that worked out. There were some good things mixed in there, but there's some things we've got to fix, and I know the players are aware of that, and the coaches are aware of it. So we'll get busy on that. We've got a good Eagles team coming in here, and look forward to playing right here at GH Field, Arrowhead Stadium, and I guess again, I guess a good football team. So with that, time's yours.
We'll go first to Pete Sweeney.
Which I was wondering just how close you feel Jalen Royals could be from the injury standpoint, and then just considering you may not have Worthy, just where he's at in confidence level in his offensive game.
Yeah, Jalen's doing a good job with his rehab. We'll just see how that ends up this week. We've got a couple days here that we've had, so guys are making good progress in that. But we'll see where it rolls. If neither play, we've got the guys that we played with the other night that are good football players.
All righty. We'll see. That doesn't sound promising to me. We got the other guys we played with who are good football players. All right, I get it. But I'd like to see Jalen Royals out there. I hope he's healthy. Xavier Worthy update, rehabbing, working his shoulder, taking it, quote, day by day. Day by day or day to day by Andy Reid could mean anything. It could mean Eric Berry or it could legitimately mean day to day. We'll see what it looks like. It was a brutal hit that he took. Ran into Travis Kelce. Good thing Travis Kelce lost weight, because if Travis Kelce was any bigger, if that was old Travis Kelce last year, Xavier Worthy's done. We're lucky Kelce lost a little bit of weight. Maybe it was less impactful.
I'm not sure. He's still 6'5", 240, and what
Dude,
is Xavier Worthy, a $170?
Yeah, that was bad, man. That was right when you saw it happen. You're like, oh, bleep. Little mesh route gone wrong. And I don't know who was at fault in that situation. Did Kelce not get far enough downfield? Did Xavier not go shallow enough? Was he too far downfield? But either way, that cannot happen, and you see what happens when it does. Friendly fire is... You hate injuries, obviously, but friendly fire almost makes it worse.
Well, get this. This is the second season in a row that the Chiefs have lost a wide receiver due to friendly fire against the Chargers. Last year it happened with Rashee Rice and Patrick Mahomes.
That is, quote, in my opinion, not ideal. All right, number 2, Sam McDowell asked if Christian Fulton was set to make a bigger contribution moving forward.
Yeah, he's been working in and working out, which is a good thing. And we'll just use him as we go here. How much bigger of a load he gets, I can't tell you that, but he has been working, and he gets better every day. So more comfortable every day. It's not only getting back physically, but also with the defensive part of it. So.
Yeah, and just how would you just assess the pass defense overall?
Yeah, there are things. Listen, there are things that we've got to work on. Spags got a great grasp of it, and the players, they know. So it's we've got to fix a few things there. Yeah.
We'll go next to Nick Jacobs.
And Sydney, I'll have a follow-up if I can, please. Andy, for you, what do you want to see from the team here in the home opener mentality-wise when you come out here on Sunday?
Yeah, I think the guys they'll be fired up to play against a real good football team and at home. You know, it's I wouldn't expect anything less than that.
And then I don't know if you got a chance at all. What stood out to you this week from week 1 from some of the other teams, if you got a chance to watch anybody?
I didn't I didn't look at much. The one advantage that both the Eagles and we had was we had a couple extra days there to dig in on each other. So that's where I spent all my time after going through our stuff.
So when you look at what Christian Fulton did, he didn't have himself a great game, but no one really in the Chiefs secondary had himself a great game. I thought Trent McDuffie actually did a fine job overall. Wasn't the best McDuffie game, but I thought he was okay. Christian Fulton with a coverage grade of 57.6. Not great, right? Yeah, but Jalen Watson came in at a 45.6, even worse. Shamari Connor came in at a 45.6, even worse. Jaden Hicks came in at a 31.2. Now, I'm combining, obviously safeties and corners here, but when you look at a lot of slot corner, that was a lot of Shamari Connor. Jalen Watson played 98% of the snaps. He played 64 snaps. McDuffie played 65, which was 100%. Christian Fulton only played 15 snaps, 23%, and I think that number has to go up. It's not anything on Watson, and I'm fine with Watson being out there, but I would like to see more Christian Fulton. I think Fulton is just a better player overall personally. And if you're going to do these 3 cornerback sets / safety sets with Shamari being the slot corner, stop it. I don't understand. Shamari Connor is turning into Dan Sorensen in the sense of he's fine in a role. I'm not saying he doesn't have a role on this team, but that large of a role doesn't make sense, and it feels like everyone sees it but Spags. It's the Dan Sorensen yet again. I think Shamari's a little better than the very tail end of Dan Sorensen, but it's like we all see this. I'm not saying no more than Spags. That's not what I'm trying to say, but it feels like I'm taking crazy pills. Shamari Connor's not good in the slot.
When he wasn't good last year either. And it's almost like the Chiefs are trying to do the same thing over and over and over again, and the same result is happening. So, yeah, you make a great point. I don't know why Steve Spagnuolo is continually trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. And, you mentioned it earlier with the, miscommunication between Travis Kelce and Xavier Worthy on that mesh route. It almost seemed a lot like the defense was also having a lot of communication issues, and there was one of those touchdowns the Chargers were able to convert that the guys were just completely lost. And I don't know what the solution is. To your point on Christian Fulton, he should be playing more. I don't know if it's a in-house discipline thing.
Working back from the injury, obviously didn't play a lot in the preseason, and first year with the team, so they went with the incumbent of Jalen Watson. I get that, but you can play all 3. If you told me which 3 guys are better at coverage, Christian Fulton, Jalen Watson, Shamari Connor, Trent McDuffie, I think there's a clear 3, and then there's a number 4. I do think that Shamari Connor has a role. We've seen him be successful on this Chiefs team, especially defensively, as a traditional safety. When he played traditional safety as a rookie, we thought, wow, he's got something. He's showing us something here. And I also think we saw why Jaden Hicks wasn't the starter. I think we saw why Jaden Hicks was behind Brian Cook and Shamari Connor. Why we saw him, he played, let's see what he ended up playing snap count-wise. He played 39 snaps. Graded as a 29.7, a 31.2 in coverage. We were all wondering why Jaden Hicks wasn't getting more run. We all assumed he's the guy filling in and taking over for Justin Reid. He was really good as a rookie. But the Chiefs have had a lot of this recently, and it's not a great trend where it looks like a lot of guys are good as a rookie. Remember Juan Thornhill? Really good as a rookie. Brian Cook, really good as a rookie. Shamari Connor, really good as a rookie. Jaden Hicks, really good as a rookie. And it feels like a lot of it was injury to some of those guys, right? Full transparency. But I don't know if it's a sophomore slump, but it feels like they get really good as a rookie. They're integrated in. They look solid. Then they take over, and a lot of times they just look fine. Juan Thornhill from that point on looked fine, right? Brian Cook looks fine, but they never lived up to what they did as a rookie. Jaden Hicks looked really good as a rookie. I know it's one game, so we'll see. I'm not trying to judge him on one game, but that one game, not ideal.
Well, I think to your point, the Chiefs, for the most part, like to get guys caught up to speed in their rookie season. They're not playing a huge role. And then when they're asked to do more, they struggle. And so it's almost like the Chiefs, when expecting some of their players to take that next step to make the transition from being a serviceable role player to a starter, they just don't have that, and it's frustrating. But I think to your overarching point, there's guys the Chiefs have on this roster that can serve a role and do it well, but when you ask them to do more, you're going to get exposed.
Yeah. Number 3 from Andy Lebo asked Andy if he'd got an explanation on why T.R. Tart was not ejected.
Yeah, I don't understand that rule. I mean, I didn't, I didn't. I guess it's open hand, fist, whatever. I don't know. I mean, I don't know all of that. What their decision was on that. He definitely got hit in the head pretty hard, whether it was a open fist or a closed fist.
And then the play where Travis and Xavier ran into each other early, I didn't see a really good replay of exactly how it happened. I guess those things just happen when you're running those kind of mesh routes, but it seemed, was anyone pushed on that play or just they just didn't see each other?
Yeah, I mean, it was just one of those deals. I mean, sometimes that happens, and that's anyway. Sometimes that happens with crossing routes, but you hope it doesn't, and very often for sure.
Thanks, Coach.
Andy, we didn't get a chance to ask you about this after the game, but just the halftime thing. I just wondered if you could explain to us your guys' arrival on the field at half there for the second half.
Yeah, I think it probably went a little longer than what we were given, and so that was it.
And just a quick follow-up on Todd Lebo's question on the Tark incident. Is that a play that you're able to reach out to the league and attempt to get some clarification on that?
Yeah, I think it's the open hand, closed hand deal. I'm not sure how you determine that, but which hurts more.
Are you able though to have you heard from the league, or do you plan on asking for clarification?
Yeah, I'll work out that with the league. I mean, I can't get into all that, Herbie. I don't have enough money to do all
that. Didn't sound like Andy was too happy, too thrilled with the T.R. Tart non-ejection. Doesn't have enough money to get into all of that. A lot of things I want to get into. Obviously, the T.R. Tart situation, and I want to talk a little bit about Andy. It sounds like just getting into the team at halftime, winning over the allotted time. We'll take a break. We'll come back. More Zone next. Welcome back to the Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, Mick Schaefer.
What's up, boys?
Mick, how are you?
You know, I can always tell when you're hosting because you never sit still, right? Every break, you get up twice this break and left, and then came back.
I got a podcast.
I'm driving in, I hear both segments, and like the bump back music keeps going and go. It's like a minute in.
Okay,
I'm like,
that's not
I'm
me.
hearing, I'm hearing,
he was
I'm
doing
hearing
something
new
back there.
verses of the bump back music. I didn't know. We got to the chorus. I'm like, I didn't know this song lasts so long. It's like a Boston song from the early 80s, man. It's like
It's
8 minutes long.
Foreplay long time.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. And I'm like, oh, yeah, it's Sterling hosting. He's just running around doing stuff. Usually in the bathroom.
No, I was not this time. I have a small bladder. I have to pee a lot. Okay, it happens. I drink a lot of liquids. I drink a lot of coffee. I drink a lot of water. Sometimes I'll drink a neutral or a cut water during the show because I get a little thirsty at times. It happens. Sue me. Don't actually sue me. But I drink a lot of liquids. Okay, that's part of who I am. It's part of the Sterling brand. Okay. So I do have to pee a lot. Yes, you are correct. But also, Jason's gone, so even more so, I got a podcast. I got to cut a couple things. I got to do these sports centers, right? I got to do those. I have to go
There's
back.
nobody else to do the sports centers now, is there? Because
No.
you got the interns gone.
Interns are gone, so you just have Stu. I got to talk to sales about a couple of extra things, which, by the way, the Chiefs scored 21 points, which means you get 21% off at Johnny's Tavern, right? Get a pizza, any specialty extra large pizza, dine in only, right? There. That's what you need. Johnny's Tavern. I needed to find out, make sure it was dine in only, was what I was actually trying to do last break. So I did. Johnny's Tavern, 21 points scored by the Chiefs, 20% off. Specialty extra large pizza, dine in only at Johnny's. See, I'm a busy man. It happens.
Are you saying this show is secondary?
No, this show's primary.
Okay.
But when you're the only one here, you gotta. I got Field texting me. Field Yates was texting me back, asking me some questions. I'm not gonna leave Field hanging, right? I'm not gonna leave him hanging on the pitch. Field, see, I can't leave him hanging. I wanted to make sure I got to him. So yes, I'm a busy man. Is that okay?
We're grinders.
I'm a Gruden grinder.
Yeah, I know Sterling too well to know his definition of grinder is a little bit different than most people's.
It's the Pretty Ricky version.
It is.
Grind on me. Yeah. Absolute banger of a song. All right, where do you want to start? College football, NFL,
Horrible
Chiefs?
weekend. Mizzou, good win, but if you're a fan of a team with the name Kansas in the title, that was not good. Oklahoma State lost by 66.
That was it? I thought it was more.
That was bad. That was a bad combination of a bad team and a really good team, and then pissing off the really good team in the week leading up to it. That was a bad formula there.
Did
so
Gundy lift his shirt up again after the game, or was it just a one-time shirt lifting?
I don't know. He should have lifted his pants up because he got pantsed that game. Pull those back up. Yeah, the Royals, I guess, won 2 of 3.
Yeah, that was fine.
Sporting lost, current one. But yeah, mostly a bad football weekend. I'm sure the Mizzou win, though, made it up for you guys.
It made up a lot.
Some hand-wringing, though, for about 3.5 quarters.
And I was saying I was at a margarita party. I actually brought my own lime margarita cut waters because I'm going to bring something to the table when I go. We do this every single year. We go to a friend's house. There's about 40 of us that show up. They went to Georgia, but we're all grew up in Kansas. A lot of us went to the same high school, and I'm one of, I think, 3 Missouri fans there. Almost everyone else was Kansas or didn't care, but a lot of Kansas, right? Okay. And we had 2 TVs set up at one point, one up top for me, and the other 2 Missouri fans, and then the 38 Kansas fans got to watch downstairs.
Oh, you're separated.
We separated.
That's good.
We had to because just to make sure. But when it was 21-6, I was like, I'll go downstairs. I'll try and be the bigger man here, and I'll hang out with the squad. Right? Congratulations, you guys look pretty good. And then Missouri made the comeback. And then the batting of the ball happened. And we got a little into it there. And then the shoulder pad face mask happened.
Okay.
And hands were almost thrown. But calmness prevailed.
Yeah. I can't imagine you were making any comments there.
I never
amongst
would.
the KU people at all.
Never would.
No. Your mouth, I can't imagine ever getting you into trouble.
Let me see if I can show you the pants I was wearing that were very loud. You get into the full outfit, but these are the Mizzou party pants. They're like black chinos with Missouri Tiger logos all over, and then it was a very loud outfit, but I figured if I'm going to dress up, I'm going all out. I'm
You
not
gotta
going
go all
to
out.
again.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to half-ass anything.
No.
Not going to do it.
Well, Mizzou, dominated that game statistically.
550 yards.
Didn't take the lead till like 4 minutes left.
But again, I think if you're Kansas, you're sitting here left. And
I think both teams, both fans can hold heads up high after that. It was a great game. I think two really good teams.
We talked about that afterwards. I mean, we were fine. I mean, it's not like we actually were going to throw hands with your boys. That's just not going to happen. But it's one of the situations where I think Kansas, I left with a better appreciation of that team, even in a loss. In Missouri, I was proud of their resilience to bounce back and find a way when first drive looked great. Then the second and third drive looked bad. I mean, not just a fumble by Bo Prabula, but you also had him looking overwhelmed on a couple of those. They stuck with the run, which I was a little surprised by because I felt like they were throwing the ball effectively and they kept trying to run. Now, part of it was I do think Ahmad Hardy deserves a lot of credit, as well as Roberts. I mean, he was getting behind the line of scrimmage a lot in that game and finding ways. The offensive line didn't give him a ton of push, which makes me a little nervous for SEC play.
Sure.
But Kansas, Jalen Daniels, outside of two throws and the fumble, I mean, that looks like a Big 12 contender that the Jayhawks have.
Yeah,
right
I mean,
now.
I thought the two quarterbacks were the two best players on the field, and that's a good thing, right, for both those teams. And, yeah, it was a game Mizzou should have won, considering, just the bulk of the game, the stats, and all that, and the yardage. And I thought Prabula was the best player of those two, and it was great. And something to look forward to. So you're taking that as a win because last week you said it's a lose-lose. Remember that?
Yeah, now it's a win-win. I think it's a win-win for both teams somehow.
Okay, yeah.
I went for a loss.
It wouldn't have been. You were saying a lose-lose. What do you lose? It's a lose.
Yeah,
it's a loss.
But like if
you win, it's a loss.
If Missouri would have won by like 2, I think that last touchdown.
I think
helped a
most
lot.
of that game you were like, please let us win by 2.
Most of the game I was.
Yes.
Yeah, and that would have been like a disaster.
I believe
Yeah.
it was winning by 2 would not have been a disaster.
I would have been sad.
So you would have been sad had they not scored that last touchdown.
Well, no, because if they were a little bit because we would have heard from Jayhawk fans of saying safety,
covered.
the batted ball, cover, all that stuff. Yeah, I didn't want to hear that. I didn't want to hear that.
I feel like you thought Mizzou, you were way better than KU by saying that.
I thought that they were 7-point favorites. I thought they were going to win by 7. They won by 11, but it was a closer game than that. But,
Yeah, I mean,
I was happy with how Missouri played because you look at the overall numbers.
It was probably a one-score game, basically, right?
Ish, yeah.
Right around that.
But I think after watching the Big 12 so far, I know it's only a couple weeks in. Week 0, 1, and 2, of course. You had to throw week 0 in there. You look at Kansas, and I think you look at the Big 12 and say, this is wide open. We have a legitimate shot. K-State looks discombobulated out of sorts. You were correct, by the way.
I know.
You said they'd be 1 and 2 at this point. They are 1 and 2 at this point.
Probably should be 0-3.
I'm giving you credit right now.
Yeah, I know. I don't need credit, unlike somebody else in this room.
Well, Jason's not in this room.
You had 3-0, right? You're up by 2 games. 3 weeks into the season. Really
Smart,
only 2 weeks because we don't count week 0. You're up by 2 games with him.
Mick Smart, I'm dumb.
Yeah.
You're incredibly good looking. I'm incredibly ugly.
And
You're
I'm right on
handsome.
Mizzou. I was right on KU as well.
Okay, I've been right on
on
those, though. Okay. I just trusted K-State, and they let me down.
They did. It was
Sorry for believing in you guys.
Right. It's
That's
not your
on me.
fault. It's them.
Well, of course it's them. It's not my fault. I believed in you, Wildcats. I was told EMA, every man a Wildcat. So I was like, all right, let's stand up. I'll be a Wildcat. I was lied to. I was bamboozled. Bamboozled by the Wildcats. That's my fault. Shouldn't have believed. I shouldn't have believed. Do they go 6-6 or they make a bowl?
They'll make a bowl.
Everyone makes a bowl.
They'll make a bowl.
It's like Oprah. You get a bowl.
Yeah, I mean, you'll make a bowl. But I think, 6-6, 7-5 is now the question. Now, that was a weird game, and a lot of weird stuff happened in the second half, but don't put yourself in that position, K-State, to where bad bounces of the ball can result in loss, and that's what happened.
Have you ever heard a head coach say that was bad for us?
The
scoring
kickoff return?
scoring on a kickoff
He was
return.
right.
Well, the defense had to go back out there,
Yeah.
But I still think you take the points. I don't think you drop down to the 5-yard line.
Yes, you would take that.
Yeah.
But the biggest one was the onside kick or whatever that was after that.
Drilling the. Why don't teams do that more?
Well, I think it's pretty hard. I think they were trying to squib it, and they got fortunate.
I've wondered why don't teams just, even when you do the onside normally, just try and drill one of them.
Yeah.
I feel like you have better odds than trying to have 19 bounces go your way. You're just trying to drill a guy.
They're 10 to 15 yards away, and they're moving. It's hard. And they're athletic, too. A lot of them might just catch it right there. So
it's like dodgeball.
Yeah,
That's all I'm saying.
It's like, was it The Replacements where they do that? One of those football movies where he's just looking for the guy to peg, and he finds the guy shivering and kicks right at him.
Because, of course, you'd be shivering
Yeah,
in that
you would
moment.
be.
The coach wouldn't be like, hey, let's sub this guy out who is shivering as if he's in
And even if you hit the guy, it's got to be, like, solid. It's like a golf ball hitting a tree. It often doesn't bounce right back at you, right? You got to hit it right in the middle.
Well, because trees are 90% air.
No, I'm talking about the trunk. All right, so when it hits the tree, you have to hit it square for it to come back at you. Same with a football and like a human leg. You got to hit it right on.
Yeah.
Most of the time, it's going to be a glancing blow and continue going in that direction. That was
just merely a flesh wound. Yeah. KU and K-State, or Mizzou and KU every year now. This has to happen, right? This was
not going to, but I
one
wish
of
it would.
the best experience.
They're taking a 4-year break after next year?
Yeah,
5 years.
Yeah, then they take a
do
hiatus.
2 more.
Yeah. I
don't think it'll ever happen every year.
This needs to be Clemson, South Carolina.
Iowa State?
Iowa State.
Yeah.
This needs to happen because that was such an electric game. So I think it's great for both programs, bringing it back in. I love maybe one of my learned funniest best. We'll find out the Mizzou amputee who came out and instead of trying to kick the 45K field goal.
That was hilarious.
I mean,
I'll mark that off my learned funniest best then too. I'll let you have that one.
But this is to me what the rivalry is about. It just means, not trying to take the SEC moniker, it just means more. This game means more. The lead up to it, the build up to it, the execution of it, it lived up to the hype. This needs to happen every single year.
I agree. I said last night on Sunday Sound Off, it was, I'm already missing it in 27, 28, 29, 30, or whatever. I'm already missing that it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's already a bummer. Chiefs game, we heard from Andy Reid a little bit there. He said Xavier Worthy. When he said day by day, day to day, I am assuming he means the process of the injury, not the injury itself. It's Andy, right? We're trying to read between nothing here.
He's not playing this week. No.
Yeah, I would be shocked. So,
no, when you played Madden, not now because they're really good at it, late 90s, early 2000s Madden, if you had a 1-yard rush, Madden would say the exact same thing every time. 10-yard pass, same thing every time. Interception, sack, says the same thing. That's Andy Reid in a press conference.
We look forward to the challenge of playing
everything.
Day to day.
And I'll clean that up. I'd take full responsibility for that. I mean, I could recite it now, exactly what it is. These guys are just getting in. I haven't talked to Rick yet on the injuries.
Veach handles this.
Yeah, so is that why you schedule this before you talk to them? And he absolutely, of course, has talked to everybody on it. And I think I could almost nail a press conference by Andy Reid word for word.
What did you make of the left side of the offensive line against the Chargers? Because I found myself, again, in a loss. I don't want to be the negative Nancy of a team that's gone to 3 straight Super Bowls. They started a season at 0-1, and then the sky is falling. But I thought the left side of the offensive line with Kingsley and Josh Simmons looked solid for the majority of the game.
I agree for the majority of the game. What it was kind of Kingsley's fault. Mahomes was scrambling for his life on that chuck it down to Hollywood there at the end.
Kingsley knew, though. He knew that if
it was going to result in a great play,
that Mahomes would have to bail and the Chargers defense would be startled.
Yeah.
So I think that's what Kingsley has to be the only reason, right?
Here's another O-line and running back problem. I don't know why the Chiefs cannot run the football. They just can't run the football. And we talked about last night, it felt like every problem from last year popped up again that the Chiefs had last year, but was even worse, right? It was can't run the ball, no pass rush whatsoever.
I will say the deep ball was, the Chiefs had
three of them,
3 of 30 yards or more, which that felt like
Doesn't
a miracle
happen.
compared to last
You're
year.
right.
So
That's back.
I will at least point that out and more deep shots.
Yeah. And then offensive line penalty issues. I mean, are you kidding me? It's been 3 years. The best part of that game for me was Travis Kelce in the ear hole of Jawan Taylor. It's been 3 years.
Yes.
Nobody else does this. And actually, you could be called on this 5 more times every game. There's so many times they're letting it go when you're going early. Stop it. You're killing the team.
Were you surprised that Andy did not go? I know I'm surprised they did not go to Jalen Moore, at least to prove a point. They did that one time against, was it the Bengals? Whoever they faced early on, and they said, okay, we're taking you out. Wanya Morris is coming in for
this year?
This was last year, 2 years ago.
Okay.
And they said, hey, we're not going to fly.
Yeah.
We're putting someone else in because to prove a point, basically. Are you surprised they didn't pull?
I'm not surprised. I mean, they got their guys, and a lot of times fans don't see eye to eye with the coaches on who should be the guys and who shouldn't. But I would say that door's still open. The opportunity's still there to bring in Jalen Moore. And, I mean, have him ready at right tackle or left guard. We'll see what happens, with Kingsley down the road. I thought Josh looked good. And I agree with you. I think the offense was good the second half. But they get 3 possessions. That was it, though.
They were great the second half. Honestly, I thought they were really, really good the second half. First half was so bad, and part of it may have been when Xavier Worthy went down, and that's a major part of your game plan, right? I get that. But they adjusted in that second half, and I was impressed. Because part of it is Patrick played the best Patrick's played. The Bills playoff game last year, but that's the best Patrick's played in, what, a year and a half? That second half,
he had better games than that.
That second half of that Chargers game to me was.
I can point some issues in the second half. Score the touchdown after the Hollywood bomb.
Sure.
Don't settle for 3 there.
Yeah.
That was a missed opportunity. Obviously, you need 2 scores anyway. You're going to take the 3 points there. But that was just. I just felt like even in the second half though, it was just a chore for them. It's laborious to get them to move the ball down the field because those drives, they had 1 10 play, 1 11 play in the second half. They had to be saved by the Hollywood Brown deep ball, right? And some other big third down plays and Pat scrambling and nobody's open downfield. And I don't understand why. I still don't understand why they can't run the football. Patrick was great. He was great. He's really good, but that wasn't enough for a boatload of reasons. And then we get into the defense and that final play. I thought for sure when it got to 3rd and 14 there that the Chiefs were going to come away with a win here. Yeah. And we're going to point back to the 3 points that the Chargers gave them at the end of the first half.
Free points.
Here you go. By running out of bounds. And the whole NFL world is going to go nuts again for a game that they pulled out of the hat.
It's like a profit boost. It's a Chargers boost. Where we give you 3 points.
We're giving you 3 points here.
3 free points.
But then that didn't happen.
And then it didn't happen. And a lot of that was, I don't know your thoughts. That's how I started the show today was, I'm still upset. Like, I'm not saying fire. I'm not saying fine. I'm not saying get in his grill. But I'm upset with Chris Jones, a defensive line that did not get pressure on Herbert against a offensive line of the Chargers who has some injuries and maybe not great outside of Joe Alt. And
if you're not penetrating that offensive line, which one are you going to get through?
And then the final play of the game, you decide, hey, now's my time. Now's my time to shine.
I'm freelance.
I'm a freelance here. Like, I get Drew Tranquill. I like Drew Tranquill getting in his grill. I liked him getting up in his face because Drew Tranquill played his ass off that game, came in with a couple sacks, huge plays late in that game, and then Chris Jones decides to freelance. Again, Chris Jones, Hall of Famer, great player, amazing. I'm glad he's a Chief. Just that specific play, it still irks me today.
And that's part of the problem. It feels like the only time they can get pressure is when he does freelance, right, in the middle parts of the game. But that wasn't the time to, especially when you know what coverage it is, when you know there's no safety net behind you. You got to contain Herbert in the pocket. And that was one of basically 3 3rd and 15s they converted on that game.
Yeah, it was just brutal. When you look at the Chiefs secondary, that's maybe where my concern really lies. Here's where I have the most disconnect when it comes to, even maybe more so than Jalen Moore versus Jawan Taylor. It's Chamari Connor in the slot. I just do not understand. I almost compared it to Dan Sorensen, the end of Dan Sorensen, where it's Spags or Sutton, doesn't matter who, they have it. He's our guy. Yeah. He's playing. And everyone's like, no, we're saying he's fine in small bursts. We understand he does have value to this team, but he's not an every down guy. That's how I feel like we all feel with Chamari Connor. He's fine on this team. He's good in bursts, but he's not an every down guy. You saw him in the slot in almost every single down situation, and he's just not good enough in that role. I don't get why we see him over having McDuffie, Fulton, and Watson on the field,
Sure.
I just will not understand this.
Well, and yeah, you'd think just some sort of true cornerback in that position. But yeah, I was disappointed. Maybe the most. I don't know even if a steady pass rush that game would have made a huge difference because guys were just running free down the field. There had to be defensive breakdowns almost every other play in that game. Otherwise, I don't know how you scheme guys that wide open.
Shamari Connor missed one snap that game.
Played
Every snap but one. And again, this is just where my confusion lies. I just don't think he's that guy. I will also point out Jaden Hicks. We saw why he was down the depth chart. Maybe we should have some concerns of Jaden Hicks. One, not starting. We all assumed he was a guy taking over for Justin Reed, but he was not the starter, and he didn't look good. And this has now been a trend in KC where guys have really good rookie years, and then they get put into a larger role and struggle. Shamari Connor looked his best as a rookie. Brian Cook looked his best as a rookie. Juan Thornhill looked his best as a rookie. So far, Jaden Hicks has looked his best as a rookie. One game, not trying to analyze this, but that's now 4 guys. That's a pattern. I know some of it's been injury-related, but the point still remains. A lot of these guys, once they take that larger role, they don't step up to the plate.
I feel like overall the defense, offensively too, they just looked old and slow. They just looked so slow in that game across the board, and the secondary, led that charge. So
but they're not that old.
I know.
That's the issue. I know you can say like Drew Tranquil and Bolton are a little older for the second contracts / third for Drew. You could say secondary they got younger. I mean, if you think about it, they moved on from Justin Reed for the 25-year-old Jaden Hicks. They're young in the secondary. That's not a good sign, Mick.
No good signs whatsoever. It's funny. All the trends that got bucked in that game to where, like, Andy Reid's amazing in openers, right? He was 10-2 with the Chiefs in openers. And it was kind
Going
of
for 8 straight against
fluky
the Chargers.
Lions win, right? A couple years ago.
The Jags,
they're
I think,
so
won.
good against the Chargers. And then they were so good in international games. They got the travel down, they got the logistics, all that stuff. No, none of those things hit.
No.
Whatsoever. It's set up perfectly for the Chiefs and didn't happen. And so, when was the last time they were 0-2? Because I think they're staring down that barrel right now.
2015, they were 1-5.
So they went 0-2
to open the season. I don't know what they were.
They won the first game.
And they won the first 5 in a row, and then they rattled
and they
off
won 11 straight after that.
Yeah. 10 straight, 'cause that's a 16-game season.
But then they won the playoff.
Mick, you smart man. We'll take a break. We'll come back. A little Learn Funniest Best with Mick Schaefer, The Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Welcome back to the Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, Mick Schaefer. Learn Funniest Best. Learn Funniest Best presented by Cutwater. Real cocktails, perfectly mixed. Create your ritual before your favorite college football game and every Kansas City football game. Again, I was crushing some neutrals and Cutwaters. Again, margarita party. I'm going to bring my own margaritas. My little Cutwater lime margaritas. They are delicious. And 12.5% in a can. Can you believe that, Mick? 12.5% in a can. Delicious, and that?
Don't need too many of those.
No. But during the Missouri game, I needed a few to calm my nerves. And that's why I had Cutwater. It's great. Really, really good. All right. Learned Funniest Best. Learned, I believe we start with me.
Yeah.
Is that how
That's how it works.
How this works? All right. So Ahmad Hardy. One, I want to see him on the Chiefs, by the way, first and foremost. I want him to be a Chief. Two, per PFF, he had 111 rushing yards.
I feel like PFF didn't have to. They didn't have to confirm that. I think we all saw that, right? The stats people. Yeah.
103 came after contact.
No way. That's pretty good. That's a good percentage there.
That's pretty good, huh? Well,
unless you're like talking about your line again.
Yeah,
like,
take it two ways. I was annoyed that Mizzou kept running because the offensive line couldn't get holes, yet Ahmad Hardy kept finding ways to get hit in the backfield and then go forward for like 4, 5, 6 yards. It was insane. He had 12 missed tackles forced in that game, tied for the most in any Week 2 game. Ahmad Hardy, here's to you. You deserve a Cutwater for that performance.
He's is he playing his old team this week? Is he from Louisiana?
I think it's who he came from. Yeah, Louisiana. Yeah. But I thought it was Monroe.
Yeah,
but they're no longer Monroe, I don't
right,
think.
Right. There's Louisiana regular now.
Ahmad Hardy.
There's a Lafayette and there's a Monroe.
Let me go ahead and just give. He played for the UL Monroe Warhawks.
Who does Mizzou play?
Missouri. We play the Raging Cajuns.
Lafayette. Yeah. Okay.
But they're still Louisiana, so he's going to come out with a vengeance.
There you go.
But I thought it was crazy. 111 yards rushing.
Well, they're rivals, so maybe it will come out.
103
That's pretty good.
After contact. Mick, do I have to say your name first? Sorry,
you have to intro me, or I'm not going to go.
Mick Schaefer of 41.
I learned you can run 41 straight plays in a football game.
41 is
that is
the mic.
That's the channel I work for you.
Yeah.
41. Army ran 41 straight offensive plays in the second half against K-State.
So they ran probably 20. Then they had the kick return for a touchdown.
They ran 13. Then the kick return for a touchdown. Then they ran 14.
Okay.
Then the onside kick.
Yeah.
And then another 14-play drive.
41 plays in a row.
Yeah.
Wow.
At one point, I think in the second half, Army had run 50 plays and K-State had run 4. Yeah.
That would have been the worst. If you're a K-State fan, that would have been the most frustrating, annoying, worst game to possibly watch.
I was there. I was watching it. Yeah.
You were there?
I was there in the stands watching it, yes.
That had to have been the most boring, horrendous game.
Yeah, because we're like, we're going to stay here. We'll go to Aggieville once it's a blowout. And we're like, well, okay, we're staying here through halftime.
Did you go to Annie Mae's?
I did.
Did you go to Taco Lucha?
My son works there.
Nice.
Yeah.
My wife used to work there. Did you go to, is Annie Mae's the one with the pool table when you walk in and you go down to the bottom and it's like an old-timey saloon looking?
Yep.
Yeah, I love that place.
Great place.
Great place.
Love Annie Mae's.
Yeah.
The Lou there. O'Malley's. All that.
Oh, yeah. Great spot.
But not as early as we thought because of 41 straight. And that's just like the quarterback ran the ball 41 times, too.
Do you know who was the leading passer for Army? Their wide receiver who was 1 of 1 for 52 yards.
Because they had the double pass. Yep.
Yeah. Darcy, what did you learn?
I learned how much I miss Justin Reed after that performance against the Chiefs and Chargers in Brazil.
It's fair. I miss him, too. Would have been nice to have him, huh?
He had some coverage issues last year, too.
Yeah, but not that bad.
Not that bad. I haven't seen – that was I don't know. Maybe it's special teams now because we had the era of the offense carrying the Chiefs team, and the last few years been the defense more. And so now it's time for the special teams to take over and carry this Chiefs team to a Super Bowl.
When they had the 59-yarder with the fire drill, I thought this might be the time.
Awesome.
And then they missed the extra point. And so I was like, oh.
You know what made that play is throwing it to Noah Gray.
Yeah, Noah
Because
Gray.
he's a blocker on the field goal team.
It was so smart. That was just.
So he runs it to the ref instead of flipping it to the ref who's going to jog over there.
Yep.
He's able to run there and doesn't have to take time to run off. He just goes and sets up to block.
It was perfection. It was
It's
perfection.
the only good thing they did in that first half.
And it wasn't with a kicker ball. It was with game ball, which
Oh, I didn't
is
think
even,
about
yeah,
that.
it's even more difficult. So for Butker to make a 59-yarder is even more impressive.
Oh, I didn't think about that. So I guess when they're scrambling like that, it's the different ball. They don't have time to change out.
Correct.
Kicker ball.
Yeah.
Wow.
Funniest, we will go to Mick.
All right, this is what I sent you earlier, Michael. I said it's for best, but it's my funniest. And so we were talking about in the break a little bit with Todd Lebo. I'm a man. I'm 40. He's now 58. Well, Mike Gundy did a reboot of that rant for a local cell phone company in and around Stillwater, and this is it.
Yeah, Coach. Any changes coming this week?
Yeah, I'm gonna make some cuts. Look, Big Wireless wants to come after me. I'm a man. I'm not 40. I'm 58. Why would I overpay when I can get consumer sailors, unlimited plan, 2 lines, $30 each? Fast, reliable coverage, 2 lines, $30 each. That's all I gotta say. Big Wireless makes me want to puke.
As he was committed to the role.
Yeah.
He was into it.
Have we thought that maybe he's a better actor than coach?
At this point, he is, I think. Yes.
Why
I
did he
think he's
also
there.
sound a little bit like Nate Bargatze a little bit? There's a little Nate Bargatze sound to...
If they sound alike, it's Nate sounding like Mike. He's always sounded like that.
Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing, but they kind of have a little bit of a
Southern
similar
accent?
Yeah,
Is that
but
what it
not
is?
quite the insane. There's a specific Southern accent, and I think Gundy and Nate Bargatze
They have
somewhat
different
share.
ones. One's Oklahoma and one's Tennessee.
Yeah, no, but they're similar.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and
the
say it.
twang is probably the similar
Play it
part.
again real quick. Play it again real quick, and tell me there's not at least a little Nate
We'll listen
Bargatze
for
in
him.
here.
Yeah, I'm gonna make some cuts. Look, Big Wireless wants to come after me. I'm a man. I'm not 40. I'm 58. Why would I overpay when I can get consumer sailors, unlimited plan, 2 lines, $30 each?
2 lines, $30.
Fast, reliable coverage,
Yeah,
2
see, we're
lines,
good now.
$30 each.
You see right there, 2 lines, $30. That sounds. You're telling me that doesn't sound at least a little bit like Nate Bargatze?
I'm telling you, Nate Bargatze sounds like Mike Gundy because Mike's a lot older, and we've known about him a long, long time.
Well, fair, fine, but I acquiesce. I will grant you said point, but point remains. That's great.
I'm surprised his shirt was on in this video.
I'm laughing. I know. I'm laughing. I laugh as much at Mike Gundy these days as I do Nate Bargatze. They're both very funny to me.
Darcy, what's your funniest?
Kansas State paid Army over $1 million to lose at home.
Wow.
And I think that it's about what they made going to Ireland, right?
Huh.
It all
To lose that
cancels
game.
each other out.
Does.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. Yeah, not great. My funniest, Mizzou brought a fan onto the field to kick a 45-yard field goal for a chance to win $25K. Instead, he pulled up his shirt to reveal a expletive, KU, on his chest and then kicked the ball at the Kansas sideline. He was also an amputee, which, how do you pick the amputee to kick a 45-yard field? That seems...
That's, I think, is the lead, by the way. That's the biggest question there.
Is like... I didn't know that until later on that he was also an amputee. I'm like, well, at that point, you're sitting here going, I'm probably not making a 45-yarder either way. Let's do this. That was an incredible performance by that guy.
Hopefully he made that much back and like boosters just donating to him.
I guarantee you they will. I mean, he will. I mean, that was awesome. And that's why the border war is back, baby. I hope if in Lawrence next year, a KU guy does the same thing.
Yeah, I bet they show up for that game.
Well, I hope they do the same thing. Like I like the little shenanigans that transpire in between the game itself. I like this stuff.
And Mizzou's got a coach that's going to lean into it. KU doesn't. But like Eli tweeting after the game, that was funny.
Yeah, at the kid that picked Kansas.
Yeah,
to,
I guess we'll never know.
I guess we'll never know. We'll never know. All right, best Darcy.
My best was the 10th anniversary of Sunday Sound Off.
Ha ha ha! Let's go. Thank you. That was a lot of fun.
It was great. I caught it at 11:30, 11:45.
Yeah, we should have done it maybe the week before Sunday Night Football started. But that was it was a lot of fun. We had Frank Bolback. We had Seren. Seren was an original panel member, and so was Blair Kirchhoff. We called it a black tie affair. Everybody else wore a suit and tie except for Seren. he said the original rule on that show, he told Frank Bowl, I'm never wearing a suit and tie. So he wore his original 810 polo that he wore 10 years ago.
He still has it, huh?
Yeah, he said that's the last polo 810's ever given him, and it was like 20 years ago.
He's not wrong. That's great.
It was a lot of fun. We went back and we found the old show, the original show, and played a bunch of clips from that. By the way, the 3 topics, if you saw, Michael, the 3 topics were from back then were who's going to start Game 2 of the ALCS, which in early September was an odd question.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're just glossing over the ALDS?
Correct.
Which they shouldn't have because they almost lost that one.
No, but they won, so it was
They
easy.
did. It was Cueto or Ventura because Cueto was bad at that time.
He was bad.
Yes,
at the
and then
time.
was great in the playoffs. And then the second question was basically a prediction on the Chiefs that year, record, whatever. And Seren had a Alex Smith take and how the record for touchdown passes for the franchise is 26, set by Lynn Dawson like 50 years ago. And then the last one was, remember the Kansas State band controversy when they played halftime? All right, Google it.
Were they line up in a certain?
They had the Starship Enterprise.
Oh yeah,
and they were shooting at the Jayhawk.
Yep, I remember that now. Yeah, that's funny.
And it was, I think, that was the intent, and it did not look like that.
Huh.
And so that was a big controversy back then. Those are the 3 topics.
Best. By the way, I like listening to you. I do listen to you. I take it back. I watch you.
Thank you.
Before with the sound off, I mute it. But you look good. You had your nice little Italian mafia suit on this time around. And
Last night,
yeah, it looked good.
Thank you.
So yeah, I do watch Mick Schaefer, but it is on mute.
Yeah. That's fair enough.
All right, best for me. Mizzou win, of course. But Turnpike Troubadours concert. Went to that on Thursday night.
Was it out at Sandstone?
No, they did Uptown this time around.
Oh, good for them.
And
who opened for them?
There's a couple bands. American Aquarium.
Heard of them?
They were good. I liked American Aquarium. And then there was one other band I took a picture of. I had never heard of them before. And let me see. Leon Majcen.
Okay. Don't know them.
They were good too. But yeah, Turnpike was phenomenal. It's great. Singers obviously sober now, which is fun. And you could tell they had a great time. They played 25 songs.
They always write
Turnpike.
better songs when they're sober. You notice that, these
Yeah.
band members. But I've seen him since he got cleaned up. I bought tickets for Boys of Oklahoma this weekend.
Nice. Am I going to ride with you down?
God, no.
Best. Mick's taking me to that concert.
0 chance.
Well, okay. What's your best?
Is it my turn for the best?
Yeah. I thought best is taking me down. You surprised me with tickets?
No, my best was I came across a college football rivalry game name list, right? So Border War.
Yeah.
Right? This is what kind of sparked it. And so my favorites have always been Bedlam. I think it's a great name for a rivalry. It's Oklahoma State. No bias there at all. I like Civil War, which is Oregon State. But there were some great names in here. I had no idea. The number 1 on this list, this is by The Athletic, is the Brawl of the Wild. Do you know who that is?
I do not.
It would be Montana State.
Wow.
The Brawl of the Wild. I'm like, that's pretty good. There's the Battle for the Bones. That's Memphis and
what
who
bones?
is that? UAB.
What
Don't
bones
know.
are they? That seems
Don't
a little
know.
scary, actually.
Holy War's up there. Iron Bowl's up there. Oh, one of my favorites is Farmageddon.
Yeah,
That's
Farmageddon.
ranked 8th. Feel like that could be higher. The Egg Bowl's up there. The Iron Bowl. Biggest little game in America. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of
Is it like Reno, Nevada?
It is. You would think so, right?
You're right.
It looks like it might be like a couple FCS schools.
But they might play in Reno.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Nevada, Reno, something like that. And I feel like I was going to dismount on one of these, but the Boombox Classic.
Between
Jackson State and Southern.
So whoever wins a boombox.
Or maybe they're just playing music on the boombox the entire time.
That would actually be
That was my
electric.
favorite. The Boombox Classic.
I would be into that. We got to take a break. We'll come back, wrap up the end of the show right here. Zone Sports Radio 810 WHB. Wrapping up the Monday edition of The Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. All right, Mick, Royals, Guardians, 4-game set starts in Cleveland starting tonight. Ryan Bergert on the mound for KC. What do they do?
You need to raise expectations here. Go in 3 of 4. Guardians are right there with you.
They are a half game back of KC.
You need to start winning a lot more than you're losing.
I keep going 2 and 3. Well, not really.
No, they don't.
They
went
2 and
3 and 3 in their 6 games at home against very beatable
yeah,
teams.
not ideal. Vikings, Bears. Is this the Bears' year?
No. What's your next question?
Do they finally get a 4,000-yard passer?
God, no. Of course not. No.
In Chicago, who wins?
Vikings. Duh.
Give me the Bears.
No
Program
way.
next.